Hello and welcome to another Watch Along on the Sports Corner YouTube channel. We are back once again for another Bundesliga game, and it's been quite some time since we did the last match on the channel in the Bundesliga, but we've got a spooky Watch Along today. It's Halloween, of course. It's Halloween night, and are we going to see any spooky going-ons today? I don't know, but joining me today, as always when it comes to Bundesliga matches, it's Kieran. How are we doing, buddy?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, and we called Rowan the other night. We said the Sevilla correspondent. I'm beginning to feel the Gladbach correspondent on the Sports Corner YouTube channel, as we're back again with a game between Gladbach and Leipzig, which, fingers crossed, plenty of tricks and even more treats.
We love it. We absolutely love it. As I said, it's Halloween today, so it should be an interesting game. Unfortunately, there is we haven't got any fancy dress, have we? Unfortunately, no. So. There was the idea of going in fancy dress for this game, but that idea didn't come around, unfortunately. But in terms of the actual match itself, putting Halloween aside, on paper, this is a very good game. Top of the league in the Bundesliga, RB Leipzig, against a side that could go into the top four in Gladbach.
Leipzig, unfortunately for them, both Dortmund and Bayern have won previously to today, so the pressure is really on them. And unfortunately for Leipzig, they don't tend to have a great record when the pressure's on. No. As last year we've seen them, bottle the league, and the year before they've never really got it going. So it is a big game for them, and you don't want it to be against this Gladbach side that it's going to be weird to see how they feel after this midweek, because it was great for them, because they took a 2-0 lead and they got a draw with Real Madrid, the Galacticos, but they also copped up a 2-0 lead, so it'll be weird to see what mindset this Gladbach team are in.
It's going to be interesting indeed, of course. It'll be a tough test, I think, for them today. RB Leipzig as well, you've got to remember, they lost against Manchester United 5-0 in the Champions League, so they're coming off the back of a pretty shocking result, to be honest with you. And it should be interesting to see today whether they can kind of bounce back from such a big defeat against a pretty big club in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's an embarrassing result, really, because in that group it was kind of the Leipzig, United and PSG were all vying for two spots, but I've got to admit they did not make a good account of themselves. They were played off the park, and to be honest, if you're Leipzig, you were expecting to do better against that Man United team. You shouldn't be getting dispatched 5-0, but sad times. See, they'll be looking, maybe it's a revenge game for them. Maybe they want to put a better showing.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting game indeed. It does kick off in about 6 minutes' time, so we'll quickly go through the lineups. We'll do our score predictions as always, but you will, of course, remember the last time we did a watch-along, it was quite a feisty affair, wasn't it, between Hertha Berlin and Frankfurt?
Yeah, it started off really slow, and then it suddenly kicked into 7th gear as the game went on, which was a surprise to many of us. As we opening 20 minutes, I thought, oh dear, we've picked a wrong game. It was not as funky fun as we expected. But then it came to fruition, so I'll ignore the first 20 minutes and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, we'll hopefully, fingers crossed, maybe the first 20 minutes might be really lively. It kind of sets the game to a good tone. But let's have a quick look at the teams, of course. We've got about 5 minutes until kick-off of this game between Gladbach and Leipzig. And we'll start off with the home side, Gladbach, of course, coming off that 2-2 draw against Real Madrid in the Champions League midweek. Sommer, he continues in goal. Back four of Benzibaini, Elvedi, Ginter and Leiner. Defensive midfield two of Neuhaus and Hoffmann. Attacking three of Wolf, Embolo as a central attacking midfielder today, and Herman. And then up top today is Alisson play. I think if you are a notable Bundesliga fan, you will say there is one certain important player missing. He scored 2 goals, of course, against Real Madrid midweek. That is Marcus Thuram. He's on the bench, but not starting. How important do you think it is for a player like Thuram to come off the bench? And should he have actually started rather than being on the bench today?
It's difficult because you asked me whether he'd picked up a knock in that Real Madrid game, because he did get subbed off, and I was surprised because he had a brace. I thought, I wonder why they took him off. Maybe it was a knock and they want to kind of keep him, but also we talked about the schedule and how hectic it is. They might just want to rest a few players, and they're really crucial ones for the game in midweek as well, because they've got a hell of a chance of getting out of that group, and they have faced Inter and they've faced Real Madrid now. Next week against Shakhtar might be the game they fancy to really put a foothold in the group. So it's weird that the changes from the back six, including the 2 defensive midfielders in the back four, perfectly all the same.
Yeah.
But up front, the only person to remain, I'm pretty sure, is Alisson player.
Which is interesting. Of course, it'll be interesting to see how those do tonight, because of course you've got to say for the players that are playing tonight, it's a big chance for them to show themselves off, because as we said before, it could be a case of the 2 games that Gladbach have against Shakhtar, we could be saying, well, they're pretty much through to the next round of the Champions League, which is incredible. But Kaz in the chat says, hi guys, I was going to say, hope this game is a few treats and not too many tricks, but Kieran stole my thunder.
I'm sorry. When it comes to puns, we had Tim come and do it, so I took the mantle. I'm sorry, Kyle. If you want to take the mantle for puns, I'll let you have it.
You take the mantle back, Kyle. I'm pretty sure Tim might jump in at one point today and try and put a few Halloween jokes and tricks in there. You know what he's like when it comes to getting the jokes in there. We do like them indeed. But let's have a quick look at the away side as well. Of course, RB Leipzig there currently. They were top of the league, in fact, but a couple of the Bundesliga matches have already been played today, which means that Bayern Munich have gone to the top of the league. But, of course, if Leipzig do win, they will go back to the top of the table on 16 points. 4-3-1-2 today for RB Leipzig. Galacki starts in goal. Back 4 of Angelino on the left, Henriks on the right. The 2 centre-backs, Willy Orban and Upamecano. Midfield 3 of Samardzic, Campbell, Sabitzer. Attacking midfielder of Olmo, although it could be Samardzic as well, starting as the attacking midfielder. In fact, you could probably say it's any of the 4 who could be the attacking midfielder today, because they all are quite fairly attacking players. And then up top we have Soloff, of course, former Crystal Palace man, and Yusuf Poulsen. 2 very tall, fairly quick strikers that could cause quite a bit of a problem today for Gladbach.
Yeah, I think playing them 2 as a duo, I think that always works when Werner and Poulsen were together, rather than Poulsen playing the lone striker. I think it always works better for him in his play style, because he's not that clinical finisher that you need when you're playing one up top. I think the big... It's not a question, because Leipzig plays well all the time, but why they've not got a midfielder that could defend in any way. Campbell can defend relatively, but it's 4 attacking midfielders, 2 strikers. I'm hoping maybe that frees up Mbolo to find pockets of space in behind that really attacking midfielder 4. We'll have to see, but I'm excited for this. A few surprises, but I'm excited.
Hopefully it's an interesting game. I mean, you could come back to the point, of course, we've always spoke about how Leipzig haven't really had any defensive midfielders. Did that cost them against Manchester United? The fact that they haven't got somebody who can necessarily be the man to track back and kind of be that Kante type of player where he sits back and does all the dirty work, so then the attacking midfielders could go forward. Because you look at the midfielders they've got, they're all very well balanced, but more predominantly known for their attacking display.
That's it. They're 100% full throttle, foot on the gas the whole time attacking. And I felt that really was the Achilles heel against Man United, because that is a team that loves to counter-attack. They've got the pace to counter-attack. So I think that might have just been a play style that really caught Nagelsmann out. I think he'll learn his lesson. I think the reverse fixture will be very, very different. However, this game now, if you are Mönchengladbach, you just take the Man United blueprint, don't you? Really?
Oh, absolutely. Just copy it. I mean, that's the thing. I guess Nagelsmann will have to look back at that performance and said, what can I change with this team so that doesn't happen again? Because I think if you look back at Leipzig's record, it's incredibly rare to ever see them get demolished by a side. I in fact, can't even remember the last time they were demolished by a team. And it's probably a good couple of years ago since they lost by at least 3 or 4. Maybe this is the first time in their history, with it being a fairly short history, that they have lost in 5. So, with 5 goals, so I'll be interested to see what happens here. But importantly, the game is about to kick off in just a moment's time. The main question, we always ask this: score predictions for this game.
They're my boys. 2-1 Borussia Mönchengladbach. I'm hoping that they can do it today, but on the kind of have they conceded 5? I think they did against Bayern Munich, but the difference was in that game they scored 4, so they were always in the game. Whereas it's rare to see them not even offer anything. So I'm going to go with Mönchengladbach 2-1, purely because they're my boys.
I'm going to go for a 1-0 RB Leipzig win. I'm going to keep it resolute, because I feel like every time I go for a big score prediction, the game never tends to go the way I'd like it to. You know what I mean? We always say about these games are going to have goals in them. So I'm going to go 1-0 Leipzig. I think they've got to bounce back from that result against Manchester United. They want to get themselves a good foothold in the league as well, because we know that Bayern Munich, mainly Bayern Munich and Dortmund as well, will start pushing up and getting results. So I'm going to go 1-0 Leipzig, and I think it's going to be a really close game of football today. Yeah,
it's two good sides, isn't it? I think if you're a Mönchengladbach, they've conceded 4 in the last 2 now, because they conceded 2 to Mainz, and Mainz are looking like a dismal outing in this year's league.
Very dismal.
Yeah, so if you're conceding 2 to them, you worry that Leipzig can have a field day defensively. But, Gladbach can score, so it's not guaranteed goals, Josh, but, we'd like to see it.
Well, that's the thing. I think there's a lot of good games in the Bundesliga over the last couple of weeks. In fact, you could probably say that about most of European football, to be honest. Goals seem to be flying in left, right and centre. Hopefully, we do get a few goals in this game between Gladbach and Leipzig, which did kick off about a minute ago, so we are underway with this game. And obviously we talked about the lineups a moment ago. Just have a quick look in the chat as well. Kyle saying, I wouldn't dare dream of competing with Kieran or Tim for the pun master. I'm not great at puns, so I will leave it in the hands of the pros. And then Kyle's put going for a 2-0 win for Mönchengladbach.
Oh, well, this is the thing. It really depends how Leipzig shape up after as you said, dismal outing, and it might come down to maybe the strength of the benches, because there's a certain Hwang Hee-chan.
There is indeed. Although they're coming forward here in the first chance of the game, Yusuf Poulsen, just outside of the box. Kind of hit on the half volley, I would have said. The ball was bobbling a bit, and it's not a convincing shot from the Dane there, is it, at all?
No, it's a bit of a Bill Shankly, that one, isn't it? He's cut across it, and it's gone miles behind the goal. But it's difficult, because with the lineup we're seeing here, it does look like a 4-2-3-1 with Poulsen in behind Alexander Sorloth, rather than the 4-3-1-2 we saw earlier, as Hannes Wolf breaks a tackle and brings Gladbach forward for the first time this game.
Lovely switch of play there from Alisson Play to feed it out to the left-hand side. Balls tried to be lofted into the box towards Mbola, which was from a original cross by Benzebaini, and it goes out for the first corner of the game. It's been a quite interesting, lively start in these first 2 minutes.
It's kind of what we expected. It's like a boxing match, blow for blow. They're all taking the punches, and I hope it is rope-a-dope style. They'll just keep going and going.
Hopefully, because as we said earlier, for Gladbach, if they can win today, they go into the top 4, and they'll only be, as far as I'm aware, about 3 points off the top position in the league. So we might have another tight race here, but corners can be lofted in here for Gladbach. First major chance of the game, which is instantly cleared away by Leipzig, and hopefully we can get a nice early goal in this game, because we did, as we said before, our last Bundesliga watch-along took us about 20-25 minutes to get into it, and then it kind of got quite feisty towards the end. But these are two teams that have to look and think, last year we were fighting for the title for quite a large spell. If we want to fight again, we have to win a game like this to be in within a shout.
Yeah, because early in the season, when Hoffenheim beat Bayern Munich very unexpectedly, that kind of opened the door for some of these teams to go, let's take our chance. Now, we talked about this in the Premier League, that no one's took that, that league and kind of ran with it. I think it's the exact same in the Bundesliga. No one at the moment I can see is a clear runner. In terms of talent, it's always going to be Bayern Munich, but
100%.
In terms of points, every team's slipped up, every team's lost. So it's creating an interesting race, and that's not given as a foul, as I thought Ginter may have caught the leg there of Yusuf Poulsen.
Yeah, I thought he was going to get a booking there. I don't know why the referee hasn't given that as a free kick. Maybe a nice early yellow card said just to calm the game down, but the referee doesn't give it in the end, and we're 4 minutes in here, and I don't really think any side has really taken a foothold of the game yet. They both had very small premature chances on goal, nothing really majorly testing yet, but it's a good start to this game, and I think one of these two sides, they will want to get an early goal in this game, stamp their marker on this match and say, we've got a foothold. The other team is going to have to come out, and you would expect that to be Gladbach.
I was about to
be the side to do that. We've been at home, of course, and especially with Leipzig being top of the league, but you never know what's going to happen, because as we said before, I think you probably look and think maybe both teams will be disappointed with their Champions League performance. Not necessarily Gladbach in terms of a 2-2 draw is incredible against Madrid, but to concede 2 goals quite late on when you're in a really good winning position must be incredibly frustrating.
Yeah, and for back-to-back weeks as well, because I think a lot of maybe people who are watching the Champions League forget that they were 2-1 up against Inter Milan as well, with about 5-10 minutes to go before Lukaku scored. And the ref is not giving any fouls here, so another man goes down. He's letting... It's a very good flowing game so far, and Leipzig are building their first move of the game as Sabitzer driving to the final third.
It's a very heavy ball, really heavy towards Soloff. And well, we said about Soloff being quick, but he's not that quick.
No.
Bit of a heavy chance there. And I think we're just seeing back a lovely little flick from Yusuf Poulsen into some silky skills coming out from the Danish forward.
Well, there's the tricks. That's what we asked for today. And I think that's the best thing about Leipzig is that interchanging movement between the front players because, as we say, no defence, no out-and-out defensive midfielder, so that just literally free range. You don't know who to pick up and where they're going.
Oh, and this could be a good chance here because Alisson plays inside the box, going to try and lay the ball into the path. I think it was Herman just coming down that left-hand side. Doesn't get to him in the end. Eventually, it's going to be cleared away, but that little break of play there for Alisson play, he's just kind of found a bit of space on that right-hand side towards the attacking half of the box and very nearly got a chance towards the path of Herman, although Leipzig are coming on the counter-attack here, which is really poorly given away.
Yeah, it's exactly what we said. It was a Gladbach attack, then it's going to be a Leipzig attack, and we'll see where it goes from there. Nagelsmann clearly not happy already in the game, and he's not dressed up in his dapper suit tonight. It's not an important game.
No, it's not a Champions League fixture, is it? I mean, we were talking about how he looks very nice and dapper in his exquisite grey checkered suit, but he's gone for the tracksuit approach today. And he's a man of different styles, is he? He can kind of he can ride all the styles well, can't he? The tracksuit and the suits, he does both really well.
Yeah, the occasion picks the outfit
absolutely.
For Julian Nagelsmann. But I mean, I think he might have been that checkered suit after the 5-0 defeat. I think it was stick to the trackies, pal. Stick to the trackies.
Yeah, I mean, he was asked in a press conference afterwards about his choice of attire, and he said, "Look, I'm not a model. I'm here to be a football manager." And I thought, "Go on, that's what we like to hear from Nagelsmann because he's got a nice kind of attire." Do you know what I mean? He picks up some interesting suits that I think other managers wouldn't be able to get away with. You know,
he's a young hipster manager, isn't he?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's I was going to say he's like the Klopp, but he isn't because Klopp doesn't wear suits. But he's a more dapper Klopp, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that is what the comparisons are clearly there for, because it is pressing, kind of all-out attack kind of thing, and that's what Liverpool were for many a year before they kind of had Van Dijk and thing. It was just outscore your opponents, and that's always been the Leipzig way.
Absolutely, but I'll tell you what isn't the Leipzig way is the awful passes that are being distributed across the pitch right now, and you can just see, if you are watching the game alongside us, of course, for those of you that aren't watching, Nagelsmann is incredibly fuming after 8 minutes just from some shoddy passes, heavy touches and balls being sprayed out of the park. It's been really poor so far from Leipzig, and Gladbach, you've got to say, have to make the most of this.
Yeah, I think it's been poor from both sides to start this game, really. I feel like no one's been able to string 10 or 15 passes together and dominate the early possession, but Leipzig on this counter-attack with the interlinking play have been able to come forward, and Angelino finally gets his first attacking berth of the game because that's what their fullbacks like to do.
Absolutely, and well, there's a ball towards the path of Yusuf Poulsen inside of the box. He heads it kind of looked like towards Soloff, making a driving run just outside of the box. It's a little bit of a weak header and doesn't get to him in the end, but it has been a little bit of a slow start in terms of having major attacking opportunities. And come back to your point earlier, of course, the fullbacks are so crucial in this system for RB Leipzig. It's Henrichs on the right and Angelino on the left, and we could have a chance here for Leipzig to come forward. Going to try and lay it off to Yusuf Poulsen, and that is a really good save from Jan Sommer there, and it's a one-handed save from the Swiss goalkeeper.
Yeah, it was a build-up down the right-hand side, and Poulsen found his strike partner Soloff, who then found him again. I was going to question whether it might take them a while to get used to each other. You know, Poulsen and Werner were together for numerous years, but Soloff's backwards pass find Poulsen, who slid for it, but a good one-handed palm over the top, but it will be a corner, and we'll see what Angelino's delivery is like.
Well, he's had a good few opportunities in the last couple of weeks, scored 2 goals against Istanbul Basaksehir here in the Champions League. Of course, he'll be hoping he can get a bit of that form back tonight. He's going to whip the ball into the box here. First corner of the game for Leipzig, and it's headed straight into the hands of Jan Sommer. Good chance there. I think it was... thought the ball was nearly given away there. In fact, going to have to come back in a second here because Sommer's hit the ball long, trying to get it towards Herman on that right-hand side, and good defensive work there from RB Leipzig.
Yeah, it was Soloff's head that the Angelino cross found, but his header was a little bit tame, straight at the goalkeeper, and Jan Sommer has been at the top of his game for a while now. It won't trouble him. And then it was like we said, long ball straight up from Sommer, couldn't quite reach Herman, and that defensive midfielder Kevin Campbell was there.
He was indeed. And we're just looking back at that opportunity there from Justin Poulsen. Do you think maybe if he hadn't have slipped, he would have been a bit, maybe taken an extra touch and taken a bit more time on goal? Or do you think that slip has kind of helped Gladbach there?
Well, it would have had a bit of better direction, because I don't think he was aiming to try and chip Sommer, which is kind of what he inevitably nearly did. However, sometimes they can pay off. I remember when Chicharito went to kick it with his foot, hit his head and went in. So you get a little bit of luck sometimes. But for Gladbach, fortunate. They just need to watch that partnership, because it looks good in this first opening couple of minutes.
Does indeed. And Gladbach are on the ball now. We're about just under 11 minutes into this game. Of course, you can see on the screen right now, on the top hand section is the live kind of time that we're currently seeing in terms of the game. Of course, we might be a little bit behind because we are watching it on a BT Sports stream. So it tends to be a couple of seconds behind, but nothing too far. But Gladbach here, just trying to get a little bit of possession now, calm the game down. Of course, we've seen a flurry of opportunities in this game, and we're just seeing right now the average position of these Leipzig players. They're keeping very tightly packed towards each other. And
it definitely looks like a 4-2-3-1 from that image. I know number 25, I think that might be either Olmo or the Bosnian, are cutting inside a little bit more, but that's it. Most of this game has been played in the middle of the park. No one's really creating many a chance apart from that one use of Poulsen's slide. Who's had the better in 10 minutes, do you think?
I already said Leipzig so far. I think they've had the better chances. Yeah. You haven't really seen much of Gladbach so far in terms of attacking opportunities. There was that one chance from Plea where he tried to whip it into the path of, I think it was Herman, who kind of flew it to the left-hand side of the pitch. But apart from that, we've had very minuscule opportunities from both sides. And I think Leipzig looking the better of the two, but not massively better.
No, I think lack of chances, but it's been played at a good pace. I think that the ball is constantly rolling, and they are starting to kind of really nice play up until that final third.
Absolutely. Just seeing a comment there from Kyle. He says, I only started watching your channel 4 weeks ago. To be honest, I found it by accident and said I'll give it a chance. I haven't regretted it since. Oh, Kyle.
Blushing
Kyle. Is it Valentine's Day today, I tell you? You can have the Gareth Bale heart on me. Thank you, Kyle. You're an absolute legend.
Well, this is the thing. We appreciate it. That's the whole thing, attract new viewers, and hopefully our content is good enough to keep you in. We always try to do our best, being the professional stuff that Sky gives you, but with a bit more personality than sat at the side of the pitch with a mic.
Yeah, you get to be a bit more open and honest, don't you, on these streams? You can swear a little bit, you can kind of be a bit more honest with opinions and things like that, and that's why we do these watch-alongs, of course. We were supposed to have a Europa League watch-along on Thursday, but I'm kind of glad I didn't, because the game that was on was pretty shocking anyway. But we like to do a lot of different watch-alongs. If you are new to stream and you've kind of joined us for the first time, we do tend to do a lot of European football watch-alongs, so I know we've got a lot of Bundesliga games next week, in fact. It's going to be a big weekend of Bundesliga action, which we've got coming up, of course. Big games, including Dortmund versus Bayern Munich, so that's going to be a mammoth fixture. And then we've got a couple of the watch-alongs as well across the weekend, so we'll keep you up to date with those when we do get to the Champions League watch-alongs on Tuesday. But keep your eyes out, because we've got a lot of good matches coming up over these next few weeks.
Yeah, well now we're in. We might be in lockdown. You can't do the weekenders that you were used to, so instead, watch the Bundesliga, because it'll be a Bundesliga weekender, and it'll be some fun fixtures, on the Friday night. I'm pretty sure it's Werder and Cologne, maybe.
I think it's Werder Bremen and Cologne on the Friday night, and then Saturday we've got the Dortmund Bayern Munich game, and then Sunday we've got two watch-alongs which we'll be doing, of course. One of them is for the Liverpool Man City game, which I'm going to be covering that one. Yep. And then you boys are going to be doing the Gladbach and Leverkusen game, which is a big match.
Believe it or not, I'm on Gladbach again. I think I'm
Gladbach correspondent.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of good watch-alongs, a lot of good games, because we were looking, and there's so many good games on this coming weekend. Yeah. And it's an FA Cup first round, if anyone's bothered about that.
It's indeed. Can't say we're going to be doing a watch-along of those games, but we've got a chance here for Gladbach to come forward. It's the first real major opportunity since that play chance earlier. It's been fed down the left. It's Hannes Wolf and try and whip a ball into the box. Slight deflection means that it is going to go out of play for a corner, and they didn't really make the most of the opportunity the first time they had a corner, Gladbach. We've got to do better this time.
No.
Because Gladbach hasn't been tested, has he, so far?
Not at all. He's not had a save to make. I'll be interested to see how Benjamin Henriks... Sorry, I'm just seeing Carl Middleton's comment there.
No waterworks, please, or else I'll start. Ball's lofted into the box. There could be a good chance here, and how is that not going into the back of the net? Of course, it's the flag. It's going to go up anyway. but that was a real big opportunity for Gladbach to take the lead 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, the corner was whipped in. It seemed to be towards the head of Ben Sabini, but everybody missed it. It ended up hitting the thigh of Ginter and falling towards Mbolo, who unfortunately had stayed in an offside position, struck the side of the post, but linesman's flag's correctly up for offside.
He's indeed, and he's one of those players actually. It's quite interesting to talk about. And before we do, just look at the stats. Gladbach have had more possession. Leipzig have had 3 shots compared to Gladbach's none. And it looks like we might have a chance here for Gladbach to come forward. Or the referee's going to give a free kick. Will Donald Mbolo, good young player back in his day. You know, when he burst onto the scene at Basel, he was kind of being touted as the next big thing in football. Moved to Schalke, struggled because he got a serious injury. Now he's at Gladbach, doing a lot better now since he's come back from that injury. Do you think he can get back to his very best, or do you think we're not going to see that shining star that he originally was a couple of years ago?
I don't think we're going to see European golden boy play. Like, you know, Gabriel Donald Mbolo. I think he will be a good footballer and he will be known as a good footballer. However, I don't think he's breaking the glass ceiling as maybe the likes of, you know, Haaland has. He kind of burst onto the scene from Salzburg and kind of built from there. Just paused for a through ball that didn't quite make it. But yeah, I think we're going to see a good footballer. I don't think we're going to see a great footballer. But thank God he's not at Schalke.
Yeah, no, I think he'll be very glad he isn't at Schalke anymore. He's gone from trying to survive in the Bundesliga to potentially, he's in the Champions League, isn't he now, no matter what. But it was a big move for him, of course. He had that very serious injury when he was at Schalke that cost him his place at the club and kind of killed his career off a little bit to a certain extent of how big he was when he first joined the Bundesliga, and I think he was on fine form when he first joined, but yeah. It's a real shame for him, and now he's at Gladbach. It's a bigger club now in terms of the size of the club and where they currently are, although I'm going to have to stop here a second because the ball's been given away by Gladbach, and RB Leipzig have a chance here to go for a goal just at the edge of the box, and it's poorly given away there, really poor from, I think it was Alexander Soloff there.
No, it was Danny Olmo.
Danny Olmo?
Yeah, because he's one of them. He likes the ball at his feet, but he tried to do a bit too much. I think Soloff actually got clattered in the build-up on his way to...
he was Danny Olmo.
Yeah,
25.
On his way to making that, Soloff got clattered. So, but as we said earlier, I think the ref's been very, very lenient in terms of just letting the game flow, and it's been nice to see because it has been I'll repeat, a good pace, not great in terms of chances.
No, not great in terms of chances so far in this match. It's been a little bit of a slow game in terms of opportunities, but the important thing is right now that both sides are still in the game. That's the important thing because it does feel like Leipzig look more likely to score right now. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they do. It's not even a chance yet for Mönchengladbach, which is a real shame for what they've managed to do so far. I'd be disappointed if I was Gladbach not creating much, but by no way has any team run away with this so far.
Absolutely not. We've just seen from the corner of our eyes, of course, there's another game going on today in the Premier League, West Ham taking on Liverpool. West Ham are 1-0 up.
Yeah.
Pablo Fornals, which is an interesting scoreline. Of course, we've seen West Ham over these last couple of weeks. Probably one of the most informed teams in the Premier League right now, which is quite scary to say because usually we see West Ham doing poor. But they're 1-0 up against Liverpool, which is a big shock indeed. And we are going to get a foul here. Finally. Doesn't feel like we've had a foul for a long, long time in this game. And it's Herman the German, a foul there on Angelino, just pushes him to the ground. The linesman puts his flag up. And we're just seeing a couple of nervy mistakes at the back from Gladbach in terms of passing around the back. Very nearly gave the ball to Yusuf Poulsen there.
Yeah, they have. They like to play that style, and I know you always say you're not a massive fan of playing out from the back. It does leave you open to, if they nick the ball back higher up the field, it's almost immediately either a goal or a chance, you know. So I agree with that, and sometimes it does put you into a little bit of danger, as Danny Olmo is up again. His lofted ball can only find the head of Matthias Ginzer, who's been a rock for Mönchengladbach over these last couple of years.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's never been picked up by another big club because I think he's a very good defender on his day. Really, really good player, and I guess, of course, he's probably one of Gladbach's main assets in the team, not just, of course, in terms of the attack. I think he's the best defensive player, and I think he's one of the best players that the club's got, and he's a great player on his day, but as come back to your point earlier, the passing around the back, I hate it. I think sometimes it's so risky to play because teams know that when you know that a team's going to pass around the back, what's the first thing you think? Just instantly pressurise the defenders and put them into awkward positions. And we've seen time and time again in the past in the Premier League, in the Bundesliga, across all the main European leagues and beyond, awful goals that have been given from stupid back passes between defenders and goalkeepers. I just don't really like it. But that's the new system, isn't it? That's the new way football clubs want to go. They want to pass around the back because it's, I don't know, it's not innovative, it's creative. They can kind of push up a little bit quicker, but at the same time, I think it just brings loads of mistakes.
And it's a good way to beat the press. 4 complete passes and you're probably through on the other side. So I do think it is most likely to be just a tactical thing if you can get out pretty quickly, but sometimes you can't. Player leaves the ball there, and Hannes Wolf was trying to get control of it on the edge of the box. He seemed to be shoved actually there, but the referee gives nothing. I think we'll hear a lot of that tonight.
Yeah, it seems like, as we said before, the refs had it quite calm in this game so far. Doesn't really want to give many fouls. We haven't had a card come out yet, and there's been a few, not feisty tackles, but tackles where maybe you'd have expected the ref to give a talking to. But 21 minutes in, the important thing is there's a flurry to this game. There's a flow and there's a movement, and we saw in the past. I think the chance of the Man U game, the last league match that we covered, was very stop-start.
Yeah.
There was fouls left, right and centre and things like that. And it's nice when you've got a game that just flows and the ref lets it play on.
Yeah, and with this one at least I feel like both teams are trying to attack. There's no team sitting back and just passing it. Every single thing with these teams are try and facet a chance, try and get into the box. And that is almost what Leipzig have done, but it has slipped to Almo on the edge. But his shot is deflected into the hands of Jan Sommer, who's been a bit quiet like Galaxy, really. They could have both took the night off. Yeah,
so far, in this first 22 minutes, they've not had anything to do at all. And we saw there Olmo just outside of the box in the middle of the pitch. Not in the middle of the pitch, in the middle of where the box would roughly be on the outside. He takes the shot on. Slight deflection means it just rolls into the hands of Jan Sommer. So far, both goalkeepers haven't really had much to do in terms of attacking chances. I think Gladbach looked really quiet, and I do think they're missing Thuram in his first 20 minutes.
Yeah, Herman and Hannes Wolf tried to link up there actually, but they've not really brought either of what Thuram brought on the other night, and it's allowed Sorloth to come forward.
Oh, that is lovely.
Skips on the other side.
I think Upamecano's gone forward as well, which he has, but Sorloth's going to lay it off towards Poulsen, who just can't get a connection on the ball, wipes out a Gladbach defender liner at the same time, and that, I think, is the first big opportunity of the game where we could have been saying it's Leipzig 1, Gladbach 0.
Yeah, that was agonising. It was beautiful play by Sorloth on the right. He just tapped it past Elvedi. He got on the other side of him and drive towards the box. His square ball, maybe just a little bit ahead of Yusuf Poulsen. He was sliding, extending to get there, and there was no follow-up at the back post. Upamecano, sadly, wasn't sneaking in at the back, but good link-up again between Sorloth and Poulsen. There might be a future in this partnership.
Well, I thought, when I saw Upamecano driving forward, I thought, we've seen a few Upamecano driving runs in the past. I do think sometimes he's very similar to Kyle Walker in the extent of he's one of those defenders that does like to come forward, and if he can have a chance on goal, he will take it, whether it be from 40 yards out or if he's inside the box. He'll have a go. And I do like Upamecano, and so far, they've not really had much to do, both defences. It's been quiet, although Gladbach are coming forward here. The balls with Alisson play going to be played to Newhouse. Now it's into the path of Liner, just coming down that right-hand side, trying to flick a ball into the box, it looked like there, and it's a good bit of defending. And I think Gladbach will be... I think they'll be the happier of the two sides. Well, to a certain extent, because they've kept Leipzig out so far.
Yeah, I think both teams are just going to be kind of be content, would be probably the best word for both teams at the moment. They don't exactly be pleased, but Herman's driving run has
might be able to change it here and say they are happy when they've gone 1-0 up.
They could do, but again...
Maybe not with that.
Doesn't seem that everyone's on the same page tonight, does it?
No, it does feel like some players are just kind of just there, do you know what I mean? They've not, as if they've never played before. I mean, Kaz put, which team looks the more likely to score first? I would have said Leipzig.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Two sides.
I think I agree. There's been two of them cutback balls. One from Sorloth to Poulsen, which he slid and got on the end of, almost scored. And then that one there where he cut it back and he slid and just couldn't quite get on the end of. Again, though, almost scoring. So they look the more dangerous. And Player and Imbolo and Herman and Wolf haven't really been in the game yet.
No, they've been very quiet. I mean, there was the one opportunity which talked about when play got into the box and tried to whip it into the path of Herman. But apart from that, it's been fairly quiet up top so far. Hence why we said about potentially Marcus Thuram being that missing link to get this squad and the attacking side of things a little bit more enigmatic than it is now because it's been quiet. Although they're going to come forward here, it's Liner trying to whip a ball into the box. It's a little bit too heavy. It's going to come down for Wolf, who tries to lay the ball to, you're supposed to, good defending from Sabitzer, although Wolf has still got the ball somehow, still got the ball inside of the box, and eventually it's going to be cleared away by Upamecano. Not convincing, and they do in the end, get that ball out of play, although it looks like Upamecano might have got himself injured in the process.
Yeah, he's just up on his knees now. No, I think he will be fine. I don't think it was really needed to kick the ball out in the end, but it was very, very sloppy from both, really, from the attackers and the defenders there. The ball to the cross was not very well cleared by Benjamin Henriks at all. Get it back to Wolf, and as you say, somehow kept hold of the ball for a good 5 or 6 seconds there.
Well, that's the thing. He had 3 players around him. I thought, he got Orban, he got Sabitzer, who had obviously gone down, he got Campbell. I thought, they were going to get the ball back, and then somehow he kind of, squeezed his way through, and I thought, we actually going to get the first chance of the game. But some good defending from Upamecano there, who I think is the player you would expect to be the grit of the back line today, out of the 4 defenders.
Yeah, he was the only person that brought a bit of authority to that whole situation, because, again, that ball just seemed like it was going to ricochet for ages, and then Upamecano comes in and gets a good clearance.
Well, they're missing the likes of Mukiele and Canate today, which I think is a bit of a surprise. We've talked in the past about how Willy Orban has been the one of the defenders that's been out injured for a long time. And I've got to say, I'm going to stop for a second there, because Liner put himself into severe issues. And we just talked about playing out from the back being a bit of a nervous thing to do. They've given the ball away in a decent position for Leipzig to attack. Yeah,
really, really close to the area. And he just didn't have an avenue to go down, so it forced him to clear the ball, and it's a throw-in in the attacking third for Leipzig. And again, as you say, just that little bit closer to that Gladbach goal, whereas if they'd have just played it normally, they'd be nowhere near it.
Indeed, they're coming forward now, Leipzig. It's a ball from Angelino that has been fizzed. I was going to say into the box, but it was just fizzed.
Yeah, fizzed onto the edge of the box.
Yeah.
And Sorloth could have took it on his chest, but again, it just looks like a miscommunication.
I don't really know where he was passing that ball to be honest. I think when you looked at a few of the Leipzig players, I don't think they even knew where the ball was going. It was just a ball that was whipped towards the edge of the box and didn't reach anyone. But it's been fairly quiet 27 minutes so far, and I guess we have said in the past about games having goals, we kept fairly tight with our scorelines, and for once we might have actually done the right thing with how this game's panned out in the first half an hour.
Yeah, I think your 1-0's looking very likely at 27 minutes in, but there is still a long time to go. Games can kind of spark into life a little bit late, as I was with Gladbach versus Inter Milan. That game sparked into life very late because that was 0-0 at half-time, so maybe that's the thing.
We might have to see what happens. Of course, they've got the 5 substitutions in the Bundesliga as well, so it'll be interesting to see who they bring on in the second half to try and change the game up. I guess if these two sides are still 0-0, we probably will see someone like Marcus Thuram come on in that second half to try and influence the game with half an hour left maybe. And, well, I don't know what's going on here because Gladbach have just given the ball away for absolutely no reason, with a stupid back heel.
Yeah, and it was Liner again. I'm not really sure what he was thinking. He's gone for the fancy flick, and he's only found the technical area of Julian Nagelsmann.
Well, I mean, he's been poor so far. It's not really been a major chance. In fact, we really had a shot on target from either side. I don't think we have.
No, I don't. And both defences have had a very, very, very quiet evening so far. And maybe that is the lack of Marcus Thuram, because there's been no attacking impetus in terms of the front 3 for Mönchengladbach so far. Leipzig have looked alright, but again, they want to be better, and you can tell it's boring. He's yawning.
Yeah, I'm yawning. That's never a good sign when a game has kind of got you yawning, but hopefully it can kick on soon. We're about to get towards the half an hour mark of this game. It's Gladbach 0, Leipzig 0, and I did say to Kieran before we started live, I kind of hoped this wasn't going to be a Man United versus Chelsea all over again, and I don't think it has been a Man United versus Chelsea, because that was just horrendously bad for the first 45 and for the whole 90 in general, to be honest. But we've had a few little chances. I'm just kind of praying we do get a goal at some point to liven this game up, because as you said, with these games, you need something in there. There could be a chance here for Leipzig to come forward. Dani Olmo lays the ball to Sorloth just inside of the box. He's going to lay the ball into the path of, I think that is Sabitzer there, or is that the
Bosnian
Samardzic, that's his name. Lofts it towards Soloff. Going to come down for Olmo on the left wing. Lovely ball. And so close to being the first goal of the game.
Yeah, very risky attempt at a back pass from Ben Sabini with his chest, I will think, so Sommer could come and get it.
You can see Sabitzer just desperately running in, trying to get a flick on the ball, and he just can't get a touch, and Sommer's able to catch the ball, and that's kind of the first thing he's had to do all day. And Carl's put, oh, you don't mind me saying I was sad when I heard the passing of Sean Connery, who's my second favourite Bond. May you rest in peace. And came out of nowhere today, didn't it? That's a real shame.
Yeah, him, Nobby Styles the other day as well, so rest in peace to them as well. And
Cannon and Ball, the Ball.
Yeah.
He passed away.
So also, hopefully we can say rest in peace to 2020 very soon, because what a horrendous year.
It has been a tragic year, to be honest. Like this game so far in the first half an hour, I think the first yellow card, has it come out yet? It hasn't. No,
I'm
it
not
was
sure.
a tackle there from Sabitzer on Embolo. Quite a rough tackle from the Austrian. Referee hasn't brought a card out there. When Sasha's in the chat, all good, but he says, Happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween
to
Sasha.
you too. We were going to dress up Sasha, but we haven't got any fancy dress up to do today, unfortunately. Otherwise, we could have changed the background to like a spooky background.
That would have been cool, wouldn't it? You know, if we dressed up as a pirate, put a ship behind us, that would have been pretty good. Next year, that'll be it. When we're on the sports corner next year, we can we could dress up for Halloween. But we just saw a long ball there from Galacki trying to feed it all the way to Soloff, who eventually fouled one of the Gladbach defenders and gave away a free kick. And now we are starting to see this game get a little bit more gritty. You know, a few more fouls and free kicks have been given by the referee. And after a good free-flowing 30 minutes, it's becoming a little bit more feisty now. Yeah, but still, we're not seeing much in terms of creativity from these teams. Obviously, amazingly, because Leipzig have got 4 attacking midfielders, they haven't really created anything. Whereas Gladbach, just no one looks on the same page this evening, I'll be honest.
No, and I think it's across both teams.
Yeah.
It's quite weird because Leipzig have got 4 pretty much attacking midfielders on their side, yet it feels like we haven't really seen anything from either of the 4 midfielders playing. While Gladbach, to a certain extent, don't have that kind of attacking prowess in terms of the players. I mean, Embolo originally is a striker. He's playing as a cam. And you can kind of tell that he's a striker because there's not been many good balls fed into the path of the likes of Hoffman and Wolf. And I think when you look at Gladbach's team on paper, especially in midfield, it's fairly weak right now. You know, Sakari being one of the key players that's missing for the side. He's not the strongest midfield if you compare it to the other teams around them in the Bundesliga.
No, I do like Neuhaus. I think he's a good player. I think he's gonna. Some of the passes he were putting the other night were absolutely beautiful, as I called them the other night, daisy cutting passes. And that's a header into the box though, and caught by Galaxy, and that'll be nice because I'm sure his hands are cold because he's not had anything to do.
Yeah, it's been very easy for Galaxy so far, and it was on the left hand side, Benzibaini just whipping the ball into the box, the Algerian left back / defender, you know, whips the ball in there, and it's a header that does, as Kieran said, go into the hands of Galaxy. And now it is getting a little bit colder outside. I do think these goalkeepers do sometimes think, can we have a chance, you know, on goals? Somebody can warm me up a little bit because I'm just stood on the spot. And I remember back in the day, I don't know if you remember when Manuel Neuer was playing a game, and I think it was something like 70 minutes into the match, he hadn't made a save, and I think he went to go and have some selfies with some of the fans in the crowd because it was just nothing was going on for him, and he was able to do it. And of course, there's no fans in the stadium in this particular fixture in the Bundesliga right now. Of course, the rules keep consistently changing all the time. I don't know what's going on in the world in terms of COVID. I'm past caring, to be honest, but it's a shame for them so far, for the 2 keepers, because of course you don't ever really want to be tested a great deal. You want to keep a clean sheet, but deep down, I think these 2 keepers will be thinking, you know, come on, test me. We want a few chances, a few wonder saves to put into my highlights reel.
Yeah, I've played goalkeeper a few times, and there's nothing worse than being stood there because, unlike the players, you know, they're constantly running around, they're constantly, you know, keeping warm, getting that body heat up. Whereas in your net, you can only stroll to your 18-yard box so many times, and then before you know, this is the thing though, they've got to keep on the ball because, you know, one chance in this game, they need to make that crucial save as Soloff is clearly offside there.
And well, he continues on as if he's onside, and I guess of course you played to the whistle. We've seen it in the past where players haven't played to the whistle, but you can see he's Marginally offside? Don't think that'd be the word. He's miles offside in that situation, and I don't know why he thinks he can play on in that situation there. But just short a tackle from Orban on play a moment ago. He's fine, the French forward, but we haven't really seen anything from him so far. He's been very quiet.
No, very isolated, I think, as well. Mbolo playing in behind rather than that usual striking position. He's not exactly going to pick locks in the defences with his, beautiful range of passing. That's not his game. He's a pacey forward. He's a big forward. As, I can't remember the Bosnian's name.
Smardzic.
Thank you very much. He squares it to Dani Olmo on the right-hand side. His shot is wayward. And
very tame.
I don't know about you, that kind of sums up this attack so far. I cannot remember his name. It's Smardzic, yeah.
I thought it was something like that. Smardzic, that's him. But they've still got the ball here. Dani Olmo tries to whip a ball into the box, but eventually the ball has actually gone out of play on that left wing as he's tried to whip it in, and he's been very sloppy so far, Dani Olmo, and I think you could say that about the majority of players on the pitch, but the chances that he's had, he's looked a little bit lacklustre.
Yeah, I got to agree. I think Smardzic did well in the midfield. He won 2 50-50s, as we talked about the grit earlier. He was going in 100%, and that wins you the ball most of the time, but then he spread it to Olmo, and the shot, maybe it was mishit, tame, but as we say, look, 5 shots for Leipzig, 1 shot for Gladbach. They'll be very disappointed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw a good attacking display against Real Madrid, and that was, when you looked at the actual stats of the game, especially in the first half, it was something like Real Madrid had 13 shots and Gladbach's 1 shot turned into a goal, and you think, right, okay, yes, we did draw 2-2 against Real Madrid, but play something similar. And talking about it, they are coming forward now, and this could be a good chance. It's the balls with Alisson play on the right wing. Can the Frenchman get forward? He tries to whip a ball into the box. He's calling for, I think, a handball there, but I don't see anything in that. And eventually, Smardzic should be able to clear this away.
Yeah.
Lays it to Campbell, and in the end, they do get it away.
They found themselves in a cul-de-sac, but Leipzig did extremely well. And it's going to be a handball because Kevin Campbell was trying to shield the ball. He fell to the ground. The referee wasn't blowing the whistle. He didn't see anything wrong, but he grabbed it as if Campbell thought it was a free kick. And now it's a handball, and Mönchengladbach get a free kick in a quite dangerous position on the right-hand side.
It could come back to bite him, this, and it'll be all Campbell's fault. You can see him. He tries to just stop the ball, and he's giving the ball away, of course. Sees frustration, play to the ref's whistle. And this is a big chance now, and if this could go in, this will certainly waken me up and liven this game up, but it's going to be whipped into the box in a second, and I think it's going to be Newhouse. It's probably going to be Hoffman.
It is Hoffman.
They look the same, that's the thing. It is Hoffman. It is. He's going to whip this ball into the box.
And it's a nice ball. Ben Sabine.
Really good.
Oh, it's very similar to the chance we had earlier that was offside from Mbolo. Ben Sabine looks like he's going to head it, but it's just over the Algerian's head. And then no one can decide where the ball's going to go, and it just ricochets off somebody. But again, as the Mbolo chance, this one's offside.
Yeah, he's. We've got about 7 minutes of this half still to go. We can see right now Marcus Thuram probably thinking, can I come onto the pitch, please, and have a few opportunities in this game. And I guess we probably won't see much longer if the game stays like this in terms of him being sat on the bench. I think we'd probably see him come on maybe about 10 or 15 minutes into the second half if it stays as it is. But we've still got 7 minutes left. Can somebody maybe get a late goal in the first half, change the manager's team talks? Because I think right now it does come back to that point where I think maybe both teams will be a little bit frustrated. I think Leipzig, of course, can look at it and say they've maybe got more of a chance here. But they are coming forward, aren't they, Kieran?
Yeah, and Dani Olmo has switched the play to Paulson, who's whipped cross this time. It's them whipped crosses again. He's whipped it across the front of the post, just in front of Jan Sommer. Olmo made the stretch, couldn't quite get there. But they're the passes, and that's where they're finding the chances. In behind Ben Sabine on the left, between Ben Sabine and Elvedi. Another opportunity, Josh.
Big chance indeed. I thought he got the slightest of connections on the ball, but by the time, of course, Sommer had come out, he was able to collect it anyway, whether there was an actual touch on the ball or not. But it's those little chances that Leipzig have had so far that Gladbach haven't. They've got to make the most of them. Get yourself 1-0 up at half time, put the pressure on Gladbach because they have looked pretty poor. There's not really been many good chances attacking wise. There's been nerves at the back, specifically from Liner, who keeps making mistakes in terms of giving the ball away. They're there for the taking, I think, Gladbach right now.
Yeah, and there's definitely a lot of space. If you look, Ben Sabine here, lining up on the left wing, not abandoning his defensive duties. I'm sure that's part of the tactic from Mönchengladbach, just to get a bit more width going forward because it's everything's very narrow for them so far, but it is leaving gaps in behind. And the players they're trying to find that corridor between defender and goalkeeper where their attackers can prod it home, but unfortunately they've just been a yard or so away on 4 occasions now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got about less than 5 minutes left of the first half with a little bit of additional time. I assume there probably won't be a great deal of additional time of how this game's panned out so far, and there's a bit of defending here to do for Gladbach. Ball is going to be headed back to Jan Sommer, and we can see right now Jussi Poulsen, 2 shots on total, 1 on target, 24 touches. He's probably been the brightest spark on the pitch in terms of the very few chances we've had.
I mean, being the brightest spark with only 24 touches is
It's
quite an impressive. It's an impressive feat.
Yeah.
It's really impressive, but not in a good way. Yeah, it has. I'd say he's been the guy creating the most opportunities and creating the most space on the pitch. But he's not half.
No, not in this game so far. It's been very simple for Leipzig to have a few good chances and kind of come forward. And well, it looks like Liverpool got a penalty in their game against West Ham. Of course, West Ham were 1-0 up as it currently stands against Liverpool. Probably 1-1 now in terms of whoever tries to smash that into the back of the net.
Salah probably.
Probably Salah. But Gladbach are coming forward here, and I don't know what was happening there with. I think it was Sabitzer trying to get the header there to get the ball away and completely missed the ball, and eventually Leipzig will get it. Not away, actually. Henrik's there, just wanted to hoof the ball up the pitch, and eventually there's a slight deflection of the ball from Benzema, which means it will be Leipzig's thrown in the defensive half of play. But once again, it's not convincing at the back in terms of getting the ball away from the attacking side of play for the opposition.
No. And again, it was Sabitzer slipped, I'm pretty sure, in the midfield, and that's what freed play. But again, it was that final ball. The Ben Sabani had made a good attacking run, tried to filter the ball between full-back and centre-half to create the space, and he just mishit it. But the ball is given away, and Samardzic is coming forward again. He's been relatively exciting in this half.
Angelino's going to whip a ball into the box, and Sommer's going to make the save, and Karlsport, the first half doesn't seem a great watch. Let's hope the tempo plays up the tempo in the second half, and I'll tell you what, Kyle, I bloody do wish they up the tempo, because for any of you that have just joined and you're wondering, well, how's the game been so far? Draining, and not in a good way. Draining as in it's tired. It is, it's a horror show in terms of attacking play. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Squeeze that one in there. It's been pretty poor, hasn't it, so far?
Oh, yeah. I think, unfortunately, with football sometimes, it's not as if these two teams, no offence, like watching Burnley. I do think these teams are trying to create.
Yeah.
However, today it just seems that nothing's working, and I think maybe a few tactical tweaks in the second half will change that, because a terrible switch of play from Liner as we do that. But again, that final ball just can't quite click. They need 15 minutes off to reevaluate, I think. I
think every player on the pitch needs to kind of reevaluate, apart from the keepers. They've had nothing to do so far, but...
Man of match.
Absolutely, incredible performance from the buff, getting a clean sheet potentially, but we've got about a minute and 40 seconds left of the first half here. Can we maybe get one more opportunity? I'm not even going to say a goal, I'm just going to say an opportunity in this game just before we get to half-time, because I don't think we're going to get a great deal of additional time here. Maybe a minute, 2 at the very tops if we're lucky. Well, actually, no, if we're not lucky, it's just end the first half with how it's been so far.
To be fair, with the lack of stoppages, I would not be surprised if this whistle blows on 45. If it's any more than a minute, it's a travesty.
Yeah, I'd be very worried if it's anything more than a minute, I'm not going to lie. And well, there could be a chance here. Addison playing, he's inside the box, and he's in the back of the net. Now, is this going to count?
It'll be offside.
Answer is no.
No,
and that's why I didn't want to get too excited.
No, I could see it was offside. It was Galaxy with a really poor clearance. Gladbach won the header. It was Ben Sabine, and it was just headed on by Patrick Herrmann through to Alassane Plea as the defenders were trying to play the offside trap. Very fortunate that Plea was just a knee ahead of the last defender to get out, which was Willy Orban. But it was a goal.
It was a goal. It's not going to count, unfortunately, but it's a good opportunity there for Gladbach. And of course, as we said earlier, play to the whistle. Do you know what I mean? There's a few players that had switch off in that aspect of the game, and Play continued on. And of course, that's why we didn't get too excited in the end, because we're just getting used to this rule of course, waiting for the phase of play to finish, which is the most fucking annoyingest rule ever because we've had so many, decent goals that have come, and you think, it's going to count, and then the referee, the linesman puts his flags up.
Yeah, we didn't get excited because to us it looked offside, and I think with anyone with a pair of eyes, it also looked offside. And then we're just looking now at a very dramatic kind of elbow, in inverted commas, which Yusuf Poulsen sold dramatically. But that brings an end to the first half, and that brings an end to a very interesting half.
Yeah, it's been a thrilling first 45 minutes of action between these two sides. Currently, right now, we're looking at the expected goals for these two sides. XG, currently for Gladbach, is 0.1, and the expected goals for Leipzig is 0.3. So we are being treated here to an absolute cracker of a fixture on Halloween. And it comes back to what I said before. It is a horror show in terms of attacking football, isn't it, right now?
It is.
And not in a good way.
It is exactly that. And, do you know when you go round to someone's house and they've got the sweets, but you've gone a little bit late and all that's left is like a sweet that you don't want?
Yeah.
That is literally what we've got right now.
It has been incredibly poor, an incredibly poor match so far. We've had very minimal chances. I think the best player on the pitch, attacking-wise, is Yusuf Poulsen with his 23 touches, and that opportunity...
24
touches, can't forget how well one extra touches that. Of course, it was the opportunity that he kind of fed into the path of Soloff, who, as I said, I think he might have got the slightest of touches, but Jan Sommer was able to scoop the ball up, and we had an offside goal, a disallowed goal, not necessarily disallowed, it was offside from Alisson play. Continued on with the phase of play, but of course, with the way that the rule is, of course, they'll keep going forward if they score. Linesman's going to put up his flag anyway. But that is about as good as it gets. It has been pretty shoddy so far. And well, if I was you, I'd just go switch on Liverpool-West Ham because it's probably better than this game.
Did they score the penalty?
They did indeed. So it is 1-1. Mohamed Salah did score his penalty.
Oh, was it?
In the first half.
Was that the penalty or was that the 2-1?
That was the penalty that he scored because that was 5 minutes ago.
And someone else has died. If you go up there, Marius Zelukas, who looks like he's played for Hearts there.
I think so indeed, but
there you go.
Yeah, it hasn't been a good game, has it?
No,
at all.
No, not at all. There's unfortunate because we looked at both sides and they are really good. If these two teams are playing to their best, what a hell of a game we'd have. But they're sadly not playing to their best at the moment.
No, they're not. And we're just going to have a quick look at the bench, of course. We'll have a quick gander here and see, of course, some of the players they can bring on. So you can see Gladbach's lineup. They've got Lang on the bench, Kramer, Thuram, Stindl, Ibrahim Traore, Oscar Wendt, Lazaro, Sippel, and Rocco Ritz. They've got a few decent players they could bring on there to change the game up. Who would you think maybe Rose will look at to bring on in the second half if the score stays as it is?
Thuram, he's the main man. He's the one you can bring on. I think Lars Stindl, an experienced man, and he is a playmaker. I do believe, he's played centre forward.
Yeah.
Could be a leading man, but I actually prefer him in behind, finding pockets of space. I like him. And when you're thinking there is 5 subs, maybe you bring on Kremer so you have an anchor in the midfield and let the players in front, Neuhaus and Hoffman, kind of spread the wings a little bit because they're kind of regimented to where they are at the moment. Maybe Ibrahim Traore, but I've never liked his final ball, so he'd just probably be passing out a play like they are.
Yeah, he's got the pace, but he doesn't really tend to have much else, does he? And then you can see the bench for Leipzig, but you can't, unfortunately. Kanate, Haidara, Forsberg, Hwang Hee-chan, Nkunku, Kluivert, Josep Martinez, Eric Martial and Josh Vosh, who they could bring on. I think there's 1 or 2 noticeable names on there that you'd probably expect them to bring at some point, and I think one of those would be Hwang Hee-chan, just to change it up a little bit. Yeah,
it's a stronger bench, I'd say, for Leipzig. I think that the man, of course it's Hwang Hee-chan, but I think the main man there is Christopher Nkunku. I think out of the midfielders on the pitch, I think he last year got 14 assists, and he is a man who can find passes that most others can't and deliver a ball better than most. So I would like to see him come on. Emil Forsberg hasn't really clicked the last couple of years. He had a great season. I think it was his inaugural season at the club, but since then he's kind of gone off the boil. And Kluivert can finally be a winger in this formation if they do want to change shape. And I know Nkunku's played on the right for them before, so maybe changes the shape to, because these two are cancelling each other out so far.
They are indeed. It seems to be a very dull first half of action in the Bundesliga right now. Of course, as it currently stands, it is Gladbach 0, Leipzig 0. Can it get better? We'll have to find out, of course, over time. But you can see on the top right corner of your screen right now. The next time we're going to be live with Watchalong is going to be on Tuesday. UCL match day 3. The goal show will be back once again, and the last goal show wasn't as enthralling because there was a few quiet games going on apart from the Manchester United one with the 5 goals. But we've got some thrilling fixtures coming up in match day 3. Liverpool, Atalanta probably being the biggest standout of the matches.
Do you think? I've got one in mind.
And Real Madrid into Milan, of course, as well. The other game that's going on, one of the big games, but. Hopefully, it should be a good Champions League set of fixtures because the first one that we did on the Tuesday was a cracking set of fixtures. The Wednesday one, not as such, but there's some very big games going on Tuesday.
Yeah, the Tuesday one was brilliant last week, and when it's that we're seeing more of these two teams as well as both of them compete in Europe. I think Leipzig have got PSG, which will be another game to look forward to.
Indeed, it's a repeat of the Champions League semi-final, which will be interesting to see how that goes down, of course.
Is it Leipzig PSG or Leipzig? Yeah, they beat it's Leipzig PSG. Yeah.
Leipzig PSG, the double header, of course. Every side that's facing off against each other will face off against each other again when we get to match day 4 in a few weeks' time. But we have that on Tuesday. Wednesday, of course, we'll have the other UCL match day 3 fixtures, and then Thursday we'll have the Europa League, which is going to be Benfica versus Rangers this week. That one will actually be covered, unlike the Napoli Sociedad game. But yeah, that'll be the game that we're covering on the Thursday. And there'll probably be a few more watch-alongs now, seeing as we probably going back into lockdown here in the UK, so there'll be more opportunities for watch-alongs potentially over the next few weeks. So do keep your eyes out, of course, because it's going to be very busy. But as it currently stands, Gladbach 0, Leipzig 0. What do these two teams, Kieran, have to do to sort out what has been a pretty shambolic and quite boring first half of action?
Well, that's the question. How long have you got? Because these teams need to do a lot. They do. I feel bad because I love both teams. I prefer Gladbach. But there's just been nothing in this game at all. There's so much that needs to change. I think there needs to be a change of personnel. I do think some of that's a problem. I think we've seen nothing of Herman. We've seen nothing of Wolf. We've seen very little of the attackers from Leipzig. I think the only player I can think of really is Poulsen. So I think Olmo's been poor.
Yeah.
So I've got to think either change your shape or change your personnel from both teams because what they've seen in that first half was not good at all.
No, it was really, really poor, and I think whether one of the two managers decides to make a change. Even at half time, makes just one change to try and manoeuvre the system a little bit, maybe go a little bit more attacking, or as we said earlier with Gladbach, maybe bring on someone like Kramer so then the midfielders can push up a little bit more. We'll have to find out what happens, of course, but it has been very poor. We've just seen a couple of the chances back now. This was the best chance of the game. Soloff lofting a ball into it was Poulsen lofting a ball into the path of Soloff, and it has been very, very poor indeed, but we've got a few more minutes to go. We will be back in a second with the second half of this game. But it has, as it currently stands, Gladbach 0, RB Leipzig 0. So, it has been poor, and as we said, I was hoping it wouldn't be like the Chelsea-Man U game. It really has been very similar, to be honest. It's could be the second 0-0 in a row.
Yeah, the thing is usually at half time there's not much to talk about anyway because usually you can go through the chances of each team. But if you want to go through the chances, we can.
If there was a chance.
And that's the end of talking about the chances. Thank you for joining us for our half-time show.
Yeah, I'm going to quickly, of course, just get the actual stats up for the game, so we can roughly get an idea of how this has been.
One shot for Leipzig, two. They had one disallowed.
Well, Gladbach have had one non on target. Leipzig have had 6, 2 on target. I mean, of course, Gladbach dominated possession, as you would expect, it because they're at home. But there's a question that has been asked. Well, it wasn't a question, but more of a statement in the chat from Kyle. Basically saying, I think Leipzig are missing Werner or a player like him. I'll come back to that in a second. And then to Tonmoy Jojo, web stream, buddy, hope you're all good. It says RB Leipzig win match. I tell you what, at this rate, it feels like none of these teams are going to win the match, but there's still another 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And to go back to Carl's point, how badly do you think Leipzig are missing Timo Werner? Because he was so detrimental over the last couple of seasons to their, to their season. to their attacking prowess, to the amount of goals they scored. How bad of a miss is Timo Werner?
Massive. He's so instrumental to what they were last season. And I think as well, he always had the defender's attention, which meant, they'd either, have one man follow him all game, or they'd have to double team him when he's near the ball, which meant space was freed up for other players. That's what happens when you've got that X-Factor player on your team. Sadly for Leipzig now, I don't see an X-Factor player on their team that I think defenders will, fear. I like Paulson. I think he's really hard-working. And, in a non-condescending way, he tries his best. But he's not Timo Werner.
No.
So, have we got that in the future of Hwang Hee-chan? Maybe, because he's still very young. But they kind of need goals now, and I think that's why they brought in Sorloth as well. Even though Sorloth's not old, he's very young as well. But I don't think either of them are at Timo Werner's level. They're hoping they can grow into it, but they're not there now.
No, they're not at all, and of course they would certainly like to have a player like Timo Werner who they could just bring on at this stage and go out there and get probably the winning goal in this match, but they haven't got that. And then of course, obviously Gladbach have got Marcus Thuram right now, who seems to be the player in form for the club. As we said before, for this match specifically, if Gladbach win, they do go into that top four. If Leipzig win, they go to the top of the table, and with a performance like this right now, it feels like this game is going to end 0-0, which would then of course put Bayern Munich back to the top of the table, where of course we would expect them to pretty much always be in the Bundesliga. But we're just about to get underway, hopefully soon, with the second half of this fixture. Of course, are you sticking with your score prediction in the match?
Yeah, why not? Let's just stick with 2-1, because I would change it to 0-0, but I'm hoping for our sanity that at least something happens in the second half.
Yeah, hopefully we can get at least a goal, because we didn't get that in the Chelsea-Man U game last time. That was a really awful watch. Hopefully this time we can get a goal in this game, even if it's in the last minute. Somebody wins the game last second. That makes it a little bit more interesting, but we will be back with the second half in just a moment. Hopefully it's a very good second half indeed. As we said, of course, if you're on the streams, always do leave a like and a subscription. It's very, very greatly appreciated. The UCL Matchday Free Goal Show is on the 3rd of November at 7:45. Kick-off of the games at 8 o'clock, and then, of course, we have the next day's action the day afterwards, and then on Thursday we've got the Europa League, which is Rangers Benfica.
Ooh.
But in terms of the action going on, I think you pretty much are going to be wanting to keep your eyes out on that Inter Milan Real Madrid game. I'm pretty sure. I can tell in your eyes.
We'll have to see. We'll talk about it as a group, and we'll fairly distribute the fixtures to see what we've got. But that is a big game, and that's a massive game. But there's no slouches in massive games. Leipzig v PSG. We didn't even mention that as one of the passing games. So we'll see. Gladbach have got their doubleheader against Shakhtar Donetsk, which by no means will be a bad game, actually.
No, that would be a really good game, to be honest, because of how Shakhtar have come into this group, of course. If that is, I think, the match where whoever wins that game, or the two, will probably go on and win the group, potentially, I think. Unless Real Madrid can barnstorm their way back, which would be a very Madrid thing to do.
I think a draw in that game would be detrimental to both teams. I feel that it's a must-win for both sides, even though I think defying the odds-wise, you've got to admit, I think you've defied the odds much better. Shakhtar, because they've had half the team out. Yeah,
exactly. It'd be interesting to see how the sides do. But we should finally be in a moment underway with the second half of this fixture. If you are just joining us, the score as it currently stands is Gladbach 0, Leipzig 0. I can quite frankly tell you that you haven't missed anything at all. It's been very quiet. First 45 minutes of action here in Germany in this Bundesliga match between Gladbach and Leipzig. You can see a few players just warming up, of course. I do expect a few early changes in this game if it stays 0-0. But hopefully we should be back underway in just a moment's time, and hopefully we can get some goals.
Yeah,
or a goal at least.
It's actually hoping to make. I hope it's not Oscar Wendt that's coming on at left back. I think that's not the impact sub we were hoping for, and I don't think this is either.
No, it really isn't. There's a lot of defenders currently just warming up on the pitch right now, which is the last fucking thing you want to see when you've had such a boring 45 minutes of action. I didn't expect the players like Canate and Wendt to be warming up. You think maybe Thuram would be warming up, and there we go. We are seeing a few more of the other players now warming up on the pitch, which is good to see. But as we said, if it's kind of 15-20 minutes into this second half and the score stays 0-0, I think these two sides will make a few attacking changes, I hope. Not defensive, please, for the love of God. But do tell us in the chat what you think of this game so far if you're watching it. I assume most of you probably fell asleep while you've watched this game, so of course you'll be nodding off right now. But the Gladbach players just about to come out for the second half. God knows what's going to happen.
I'll be honest, I've spent most of the first half thinking, this Gladbach kit looks really nice this year. I think it might be a special edition.
It's quite nice.
Yeah, because everything, instead of being white on the front, it's all black, so it all beds nicely into the kit. They've got the white trim on the sleeves for anyone that's watching. It's a really nice kit.
It's a really nice kit indeed, and I got a bit nervous there because it looked like Oscar Wendt was coming back.
Well,
just to get ready, and it looks like
he's having a heavier warm-up than a lot of the players.
Yeah, we could see our first change of the day, and I think we could actually see a change for both teams at half-time here. Maybe not actually for RB Leipzig. Oscar Wendt looks like he's been warming up a little bit more than the other players to come on, so that's just what we need in this half, a nice defensive change with 45 minutes left of action. But the RB Leipzig players the next to come out onto the pitch. In just a moment's time, we'll be back under the way with this game shortly, and it's been sending me to sleep, and we're going to be quite frankly honest with you.
Yeah, well, Ben Sebaini has come out for the second half. Whether he stays on, I'm not quite sure, because, as we said, Oscar Wendt has been really, really warming up heavily compared to the others. But I don't know who he'd come on for, because I've just seen Ben Sebaini come off, and usually if they've been subbed off at half-time, they don't bother bringing them back out.
No, usually not. So be interested to see what happens here. Maybe, as sad as it is to say, Wolf's come off and Wendt's going to the left mid.
No, Wolf's there as well.
Is he there?
Yeah, the only person I've not seen yet is Liner.
Which could be the change. Of course, we will see in a second. So here he is, Oscar Wendt. He's coming onto the pitch. Of course, we said a moment ago he was warming up a little bit more heavy than the rest, and I do think it is probably going to be for Liner, who, let's be real, had a pretty shoddy 45 minutes of football. A couple of flicks and tricks he was trying to do that just didn't pay off.
No, not at all. And the substitution has been made. Oscar Wendt has come on, and the only really way I can see this, because I haven't seen Liner yet, as Wendt is on the left, Ben Sebaini's at centre half. One of the centre halves has come off. They've moved Ben Sebaini in field, and I'm not sure whether it's Elvedi or Ginter. Elvedi got the run around a few times in the first half by Alexander Soloff, so I think it's one of the centre halves, and they've just moved Ben Sebaini to centre back.
Which is an interesting change today. I think it might be Elvedi who's come off. Just have a quick look at the chat. Cal's put, when are you watching TV today? Did any of the presenters dress up to Halloween?
When we were watching TV today, I haven't seen much TV today.
I'm not gonna lie, I haven't either. I mean, when it comes to the sporting stuff, it's a shame because I kind of hope on Sky Sports, we'd see Gary Neville in a pumpkin costume or something like that. But we don't get that, unfortunately, here. It's very quiet, isn't it, Halloween right now? It
doesn't feel the same, does it?
No, it doesn't indeed.
As nothing feels the same in 2020.
But the one thing that does feel the same is some good football in action, which we are underway with some bad football in action between Gladbach and Leipzig. As I said, if you've missed the first half, you really haven't missed anything at all. Hopefully, the second half is going to be a little bit better, and Elvedi has come off for Oscar Wendt in this second half. So a slight tweak of the system at the back for Gladbach here. But the real question is that change going to be enough to stop Leipzig, who've had a few very slim opportunities in that first 45 minutes?
Well, I think Leipzig did target Elvedi in the first half. The Swiss defender is a very capable centre-half. However, he just seems to have the run around by Alexander Soloff for the majority of it. So, I personally think Ben Sebaini is a little bit quicker, but defensively he was quite poor in that first half. I thought Ben Sebaini got caught out of position a lot, so he's just got to be more regimented in this second half and stick to his position, which will be interesting to see, because he's a weird one, isn't he? Because he's kind of suits being a centre-half. He's got the mould of a centre-half, but he plays as a full-back.
Yeah, well, that's where he used to originally play when he was at Rennes a couple of years ago. He used to play as a centre-back, and then they kind of tried him out as a left-back, and that's where he now naturally plays. And I think even before that, his previous club, I think, was in the Belgian league. He was playing as a centre-back, and as we said before, he's 6'2". He has the mould of a centre-back, and you can see pretty much that he was originally a centre-back, then a full-back. But he's a strange one because he's a very good, set-piece taker. Yep. He's got good free kicks and good penalties and things like that. And he's a bit of a weird centre-back / defender, but can he be better than Elvedi? I probably think he will be in this second half.
Yeah, it's not that Elvedi's bad, he just didn't have a great half. Neither did anyone, really.
No, and I think I'd probably say the person who had the worst first half would have been Liner for a couple of the stupid passes he was giving away. And I'd probably actually say Danny Olmo as well. Looks really, really poor in that attacking phase of play for Leipzig. But we are 2 minutes into this second half. As it currently stands, it's Gladbach 0, Leipzig 0. The only change of the second half was for Gladbach. It was Oscar Wendt coming on for Nico Elvedi. And hopefully it'd be nice for this half to be different and it just turn into an all-out thriller. Something like a 2-2 or a 3-2. Plenty of goals would be nice, but we've always panned out in this first 45. I think that's just going to be a dream, isn't it?
Yeah, I think you're being very, very optimistic as Wendt gets his first touch on the ball. And it's a hoofing clearance down the line that goes out for a throw-in. So, great play so far.
Yeah, very good. Very enjoyable. I'm actually kind of surprised Leipzig didn't make a change in the second half themselves. Just that one change because, of course, the Bundesliga they do have changes. Oh, there's a good chance here. Upamecano's giving the ball away and this could be a really good chance. He's pretty much 2-on-1 and he's led it off towards playing. And that is a really poor opportunity there from playing. 9 times out of 10, the Frenchman would put that into the back of the net, and it was all from Upamecano's mistake.
Yeah, Upamecano was closed down really well. I'm pretty sure it was from Jonas Hoffmann in the midfield, and it ricochets off the German midfielder and he breaks onto his own ball. They are 2-on-1, but credit to the Leipzig defender, I think it was Willi Orban, he didn't dive in, and Alassane Plia finally got the ball squared to him, maybe a little bit too late, didn't quite create enough space, and his team effort just kind of finesses the gloves of Peter Galaxy, not stinging them at all.
No, it was a shot that he tried to curl into the back of the net, but he was pretty much hit. Not really with a great bit of trajectory. It was straight into the hands of Galaxy here. And I think we're going to get a free kick for Gladbach, and a bit of a weird decision there from the ref, I think.
Well, for me, it was a little bit weird from the ref, because Campbell does touch the ball. He has to go through and ball for it, but I'm not sure if the changes, because he went like that, and then immediately went free kick, and I thought, have you just changed your mind because a few people shouted at you? And I think that might have been the case.
And you can see here, it was Hoffmann, lays the ball into Alisson Play with that previous opportunity. It all came from that Upamecano mistake, just trying to loft the ball into the midfield, and Hoffmann does very well to get the ball, and very, very unlucky there for Play, who, of course, as you said, Willi Orban, puts him under a lot of pressure to take that shot, and I think is the man that puts him off, maybe making it 1-0 in this match. But we're going to have a free kick here. It's I'd probably say about 35, 40 yards out from goal. It's a long way, but if you've got a decent set-piece taker here, maybe we could see a wonder goal in this game. Yeah. You never know.
Midway through the half, I would say, in terms of Mönchengladbach's attacking third. Midway through, I'd say, maybe halfway between the halfway line and the box. But good to see him bolo up, because he did appear to get his ankle rolled there, but he does look all right. Actually, it's a lot further out than I thought.
Yeah, so he felt so much closer with everybody around Mbolo, as he had a bit of an injury issue there. He's back up on his feet, as Kieran said. But this one's actually going to be pinged into the box. Can it be used to great effect? Ginter heads it down. Good flick on.
Ooh.
Good potential chance here for, I think, Herman.
No, it's Wolf.
It's Wolf, that's the one on the left wing. And it doesn't look like it's going to come to anything here. Leipzig defending very well indeed. And in fact, the referee's going to give a free kick towards the left wing. That could be pinged inside to the box. And it's the Bosnian Smajic who gives the ball, gives a free kick to Gladbach.
Yeah, a bit of inexperience there. Newhouse is going nowhere. He's done a nice turn, but he's only heading towards his own half. And he pulls on the back of his shirt. It was an obvious pull from the referee. And Hoffmann stands over a free kick for the second one in a row. His first one couldn't find Ben Sabini's head. But this one is going to be an in-swinger, and he won't miss the first man. And if a set-piece summed up this game, that would have been it, as Wendt's first involvement is getting a yellow.
Great start there from the Swede fullback, 6 minutes into his game here, and I tell you what, nearly just wiped out Angelino completely. I mean, I'm quite impressed that Angelino's just continued on after being pretty much pummeled in the head with the studs of Wendt there, and but very high foot indeed on the Spaniard, and we were just seeing back that free kick that was lofted in by Hoffmann a moment ago, and really poor
Yeah. I think as well what you're saying there, Angelino, usually you see people fall to the ground in the most thing. He's just running along with his head, just going, hurt a bit, which is good to see because I didn't want to see him dramatically fall like he's been shot from a sniper.
No, because with a tackle like that, you could quite easily see a referee giving a red.
Yeah,
just for how high the foot is on Angelino. I mean, it is literally going to get smacked straight into his face, and he could quite easily go down,
make a meal of it,
and the referee get the red card out in that situation. But he had every right to go for the ball then. Just very unlucky at the connection with Angelino. Obviously, must have thought it was the ball.
Yeah, and we. That was the ball joke.
Yes, it was indeed.
Right, just making sure. That was a great Paul here, and it's 2-on-1 again. This time, Plia's through. He
Heavy
rolls
touch.
Orban, and Orban has done brilliantly again there. That was just a hoofed clearance, but it found the feet of, I'm pretty sure it found the feet there, of Herman the German.
It was a poor touch as well, I think. A little bit too heavy in terms of trying to get the ball onto his stronger foot there playing. Orban has had a very good game indeed so far. In the defence, probably been the best of the 4 defenders for Leipzig right now, and big chance there for Gladbach. They're getting into this game a bit more than they did in the first half.
Yeah, so far it has been a game of 2 halves. It really has in terms of how these teams have been playing, because it was much more Leipzig in the first half. But in this second one, Gladbach have come into it. A few niggly fouls though, as Wolf gives away one, trying to hastily get the ball back, but he has to go through his man, and it's definitely a foul.
Yeah, it's getting better. He's getting a little bit better now. In this first 7-8 minutes, already feels a little bit more attacking for both sides. Maybe Gladbach a little bit more in this second half, in these first couple of minutes. And it's good to see that few good flurries of opportunities, mainly from play. The 2 chances a moment ago as Leipzig do try to come forward, and eventually it isn't actually going to reach Poulsen. It's just coming past the halfway line here from Upamecano. Lays the ball to Angelino. Now it's with Kevin Campbell, who's going to switch the play for Sabitzer. Now it's with Henriks into Campbell, and they're just slowly passing it around.
Yeah, really slow build-up play, and that's terrible pass by Campbell, which is cut out by Wolf.
Oh, that is poor.
It is, but it's really well worked by Herman to get the ball back, and Embolo does a nice spin in the middle. Cynical foul from the Bosnian again, Samadžić, and surprised he's not been yellowed for that, because that was stopping a break.
Yeah, I thought the referee would have got a card out there, but Gladbach looking a lot better, trying to get on the press a bit more and push numbers up the field. And we said that we didn't really see much of Wolfs and Herman in the first half, but they're getting a little bit more of an opportunity in the second half. This is a lovely ball towards players inside the box. He's going to take the shot on, but it's straight into the hands of Golachki, who once again has had not much to do so far in these first 10 minutes, but a little bit more than he did in the first half already from Gladbach.
Player in this first half, I think for the first time in the game, he's getting a few sighters. And then Bolo is chasing Sabitzer back and just clips at his heels, and it's another foul. I feel like we've seen more fouls in this second half than we did through the whole first, but a bit more excitement to the game.
Indeed, Carlsport will be watching the rugby later. Ireland just needs a 6-point victory against France to win the championship. Surely we can do it. You'd expect to. With a 6-point victory, you'd expect...
Wish you the best of luck.
Yeah, you'd expect to be able to get the points. So very best of luck with it, of course. It should be a good game indeed. And it's getting a bit of a better game here now. We're 10 minutes into the second half. Lovely bit of skill there from Liner, who we criticised in that first half for making a few poor decisions in terms of skills and passing, but that worked really well there.
A great interception from Henriks there. It was Newhouse trying to put the ball through towards Oscar Wendt, who was making an overlapping run. He spotted the gap though, did Henriks, in a great interception, and we will see a yellow card, and it will be to Newhouse.
It will be indeed. Referee there giving a free kick to Leipzig. I think Poulsen wanted to take it early, and eventually Newhouse did stand in the way of the free kick, and I think also you can see the foul there. It is a yellow card either way, but Poulsen wanted to take it early, tried to chip it over him, but Newhouse was a little bit too close there, and now the referee's bringing a couple yellow cards out. He's getting better. I'm actually waking up a bit more now than he did in the first half, which is quite sad to say when we're only 10 minutes into this second half.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Josh, I would have woke you up at half time telling you nothing happened, mate. Don't worry about it. But a little bit more impetus to the second half. Yeah,
and I think it's this time in the second half it's more Gladbach than Leipzig. We talked about Leipzig in that first half having a real good flurry of opportunities, and now it's role reversal. The tables have turned, and it's Gladbach having chances. And I think Leipzig need to wake up a little bit more here, because they had a foothold in the first half of the match in general, but now it seems to be Gladbach getting that foothold once again. And I think with the way that this game is panning out so far, I don't think it'll be too long before we see Thuram come on while Gladbach have a bit of a foothold in this game.
Yeah, definitely. And for Leipzig, they've not quite come out the gates in the second half.
No.
Not so far anyway, whereas Gladbach have come out with a point to prove. And really, I think they know themselves that first half was not good enough as Mbolo presses Willi Orban and Peter Galaxy, who has to rush his clearance, but he gets away with it.
Well, Carl's put in the chat, I feel like this game is draining the life out of me and I'm not even watching it. And I'll tell you what, you can feel the aura of our lives being drained right now in terms of this 56 minutes of action. And I feel like for anybody who's watching us alongside the match will probably feel the exact same way. The fact it has just been a pretty dull affair. I mean, the second half's been a little bit better, which is good to see as Leipzig come forward here. But we would like to see the first goal of the game very shortly, won't we, Kieran?
Yeah, we definitely would. And, you know, a late goal's always nice. But I think if you can set up that grandstand finish with a sprinkle of goals beforehand, that'd be nice to see. But Leipzig, I think what they're doing now is kind of what they should do, is just kind of get a foothold, keep some possession for a while, because they've not really been on the ball. But they have built this up nicely, and Sabitza's free on the right, Josh.
He is indeed, and he's going to ping a ball into the box. It is a really good ball into the box, and well, Soloff had gone in for the header, and he just missed the ball, and Poulsen was just behind him as well, trying to get a touch on the ball, and he, I think, just slips as he goes for the header there. Slight collection, actually, between himself, and I think it looked like Benzabani, and it was a good chance there for Leipzig maybe to have at least their first shot on target in the second half. Of course, we talked earlier about the XG of these sides being Gladbach on 0.1 and Leipzig being on 0.3. And, well, I think Leipzig's might have just reduced slightly and Gladbach's got a bit more higher in this first 13 minutes. But that is the chance that might spark Leipzig into life.
Yeah, it was a great chance. It was an in-swinging ball with Sabitza's left foot, not his stronger foot. But I will pause as Vent again making the on-rushing run as Mbolo drags the ball towards Henriks.
Too late.
Henriks does well again though. He does get a touch on the ball, but it finally finds Vent. But it slowed the counter down and it just allows Leipzig to get back into a solid defensive shape.
Very good defending from Henriks. Closes him down, as I said. I really wanted Mbolo to just feed the ball into Vent, who was making a darting run down that left wing. And it takes a little bit too long, the Swiss forward, who's playing as a central attacking midfielder today. And as I said earlier, you can kind of see why he's a striker, not an attacking midfielder, and I think it shouldn't be too long before someone like Stindl comes on. You know, who can sit in that centre forward / attacking midfielder position, and Fleury passes across the pitch that maybe Mbolo couldn't. But we've got a chance here for Gladbach to come forward, and it's a really good chance, and it's a really good goal, and we finally have the first goal of the game, and it's Marius Wolf with a lovely finish. And just as Marcus Thuram was about to come on, he's putting his bid back on. It's 1-0 Gladbach.
Absolutely wonderful. For me, the MVP of this move is Benzabani in the middle of the field. Does wonderful here if you look, Josh. Gives the body feint and sprints between two men.
Very good.
Finds Plier on the left-hand side. His ball into the box is cleverly touched off by Herman to Wolf, who curls it and bends it into the bottom right corner. Lovely goal from Wolf and a lovely, lovely move from Gladbach. But if you guys see the goal, MVP Benzabani from centre half with a lovely body feint to get between two men. Great goal.
And I have to say, I'll give a bit of credit to Herman as well, who just lays the ball off for Marius Wolf. And, well, you can see that Thuram was just about to come on. I think even he knows he's got the bib in his hand, ready to put it back on again. Yep. You can see Marco Rose saying, yep, you put that bib back on, don't need you, I need you for now. But we've had a goal, Kieran, and with half an hour left. It might make this game a little bit more interesting, because Leipzig, of course, who were table toppers before this game started, have got pressure on them now to get back into this match. I've
got to say as well, credit to Rose, the Bunch and Gladbach manager, because it came from Benzabani in centre half, and Vent down this left hand side has created much more width, and they have been much better in this second half. But Mbolo sloppily gives it away. That's not what you want to be doing after you've just got the lead, and Campbell has managed to just narrowly missed.
Going to tackle. Good 50-50 there from Soloff, who comes back and defends, and that is going to be a free kick in the end. And Kevin Campbell is going to get a yellow card just to stop their Gladbach opportunity. Just wipes out Mbolo. I mean, we do like sliding tackles, but didn't get a connection with the ball there. But he's livening up now. That's the good thing.
It definitely is, and I've got to admit, Mbolo must be sick of seeing the sight of Kevin Campbell. He's crashed through him two in a couple of minutes.
Oh, he can't spot. Yes, Gladbach, come on. It's good to see we're getting the goals now in this game. And if we are actually seeing Marcus Thuram, of course, he was going to come on a minute ago, but he's warming up now a little bit more. And I think Well, I mean, if you want to look right now and you can bring someone like Thuram on, it's not a bad substitution at all, is it?
But also in this position, you can kind of save him if they are.
Yeah.
If he is carrying a knock and if he is resting him, you don't need to bring these players on now to chase the game as you are in control. We'll see how Leipzig react. I think they might need to bring a few players on.
I think Nkunku needs to come on.
Yeah.
Look, we have got 4 attacking midfielders on right now, but I have seen absolutely nothing of Dani Olmo in this last 10 to 15 minutes since we've got into the second half. I've seen a bit of Nkunku and Sabitzer, but Olmo seems lost.
Yeah, I've got to agree with you. I think Samadzic hasn't had as much of an improvement in the second half, and that to me,
it's Haidara.
It looks like Haidara, which is a different midfielder. Still very good going forward, but I think it provides a little bit more box to box.
Yeah, and I don't think it'll be Olmo who comes off. It might be Samadzic as well, because we haven't seen a great deal of him in this second half as well. But Haidara should bring something a little bit different to this side, and he's livening up now. He's getting better, which is good to see indeed. Although Gladbach, they are going to have a throw in the defensive half of play. And now we're getting a few substitutions. We've had that goal. We've got half an hour left. My prediction's out the window, but yours is still technically on right now. 1-0 to Gladbach. Can it get interesting? Because there's going to be 2 changes actually. And Forsberg is coming on. Hwang Hee-chan.
Yeah.
And then of course it might be free with Haidara in a moment. So Leipzig are going for it. That is what we wanted to see.
Yeah, exactly. You can see Nagelsmann's not happy. But Sabitzer again with a misplaced touch, and Gladbach can kind of be content now and kind of wait for that counter-attack and wait for the opportunities to present themselves, whereas Leipzig are going to go searching for their opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe Gladbach could bring someone like an Ibrahim Traore. Yes, his end product's not the greatest, but if you want to counter-attack a little bit quicker probably than Herman is, it's somebody who can hit on the break, try and lay the ball off into the path of play. And Wolf, of course, has already got a goal in this game. And Mbolo as well, actually, who's got a fair bit of pace about him on his day. And I think we might see a few changes from Gladbach to counter the substitutions that Leipzig are about to make, because they are going very attacking, as you would expect, with about 25 minutes left to go. Although Gladbach here could have an opportunity to go forward. It's a really poor ball that has eventually landed at the feet of Alisson Play. And, of course, Gladbach, they don't have to rush now in terms of getting forward.
No, not at all. And again, it was good play. They got the ball back, but it's that final pass as well. And it's like you said earlier about, he's got a little bit more pace than Herman, but we have got to give Herman credit for I think with his wealth of experience to lay that ball off to Wolf for the goal. A younger player or a not as talented player doesn't do that. I've got to admit, I think that was such good smarts from the German. I don't know about you, but that made the goal for me, as nice as it was.
I think a lot of younger players in that situation would panic at the fact that they're in the box and just go for the shot, because at the end of the day they see that they could put the name in lights and get the winner in this game. And I think, as you said, he's got that experience. He lays the ball to Wolf, and it's just the way it's just laid towards the midfielder, curls the shot into the back of the net. It's a lovely, lovely finish for the opportunity that Gladbach had about 5 minutes ago. As they come forward here once again, there's some silky footwork right now
from Newhouse, and the overlapping runs made by Plier on the left. I'm not sure if he was offside. I think he might have been, but yeah, because the referee's playing the advantage. So it would have been offside anyway, but Newhouse again, dribbling past 3 or 4 in the midfield. Great footwork.
He's done very good indeed, although there could be a chance here for Leipzig to counter-attack. You don't have to take it here.
You want me to take it over?
The game has got better, trust me.
Alexander Solov on the right has actually switched it to the left now, with Angelino, who's found Dani Olmo in the middle, has been lost as he looks for the overlap.
Oh!
Well, basically what happened there, he kind of all went into a bit of a myriad. Dani Olmo tried to find the unrushing Angelino. It's intercepted by Liner, but only as far as Sabitzer, whose left-footed curled effort just wide of the post. And here is the trifecta of subs: Hwang Hee-chan, Forsberg and Haidara. Interesting to see who's going to come off here by the looks of it. That is Kevin Campbell off the field for Haidara. Poulsen for Hwang Hee-chan.
And Dani Olmo for Forsberg, which is the right substitution, because Olmo has done jack shit, to be honest, in this last 20 minutes. I haven't really seen him at all. I think Poulsen's been a little bit more quiet than he was in the first half. He's been fairly quiet, and of course they've got to go for it now. Hwang Hee-chan, not as tall, but very quick, very athletic, and we have that kind of big man, small man kind of combo, but both are still fairly quick. And maybe Hwang Hee-chan can get a good Bundesliga goal here against a top side, as Sommer has to desperately hoof the ball away.
It'd be lovely to see. It's interesting that Sabitzer and Samardzic were the two midfielders to stay on the field, but it's a great pass out wide to Liner, the fullback.
It's a lovely pass! It's a lovely pass and he's hit the post! That was a great chance. What a finish that would have been.
It was lovely. Player found Liner on the right. Liner cut it back to Player on the edge of the box. He hit it across himself towards the top corner.
That'd have made up for the whole 60 minutes of just boringness we've had. That was a thrilling opportunity and well played there. Very nearly scored a lovely goal indeed from just outside of the box.
Yeah, and for Liner, who's been poor the majority of the day, that was a beautiful bit of play on the right, and it kind of proves he's a bit better going forward than he is defending.
Yeah, and you can see now the pass just lays it off, and it's just such a good effort.
I think the sliding tackle from Haidara actually gets a touch on that.
Which is massive, because I think that's what kind of just puts it away from going into the back of the net, because it just clips the outside of the post. And I think maybe with no connection there, we could have maybe been seeing that at least on the inside of the post or in the back of the net. But just looking through those stats, Kieran, talk us through it, because right now Gladbach are in the lead, but not everything's going their way.
No, to call it smash and grab would be quite polite. They're currently sat on 39% possession, but with the 39% possession, have had 3 shots in comparison to Leipzig's 1, which proves that Leipzig are not creating much today.
No, but this is what they did against Real Madrid. They sat back, they defended, they made the most of their opportunities, and they came out with a good 2-2 draw. And once again, we are seeing here them. You'd expect them to have a little bit more possession at home, but they're sitting back, as you'd expect. They don't have to desperately race forward to get a second goal in this match, but Leipzig have been very quiet, and right now the game plan for Gladbach is working pretty much spot on, to be honest with you. Yeah,
Gladbach have been really impressive in the second half. I think they've definitely created better opportunities, and I think are more than worthy of the lead
100%
compared to Leipzig, but we'll see how the changes affect it, because they've not been on the pitch long, so maybe it might take a while, but if we can get them new fresh players on the board, give the tired players a run around, might create some more gaps.
Indeed, but we've got about 22 minutes left here, and Gladbach are coming forward, and Bola trying to get a ball. He's clattered down, and there's going to be an early yellow card here for Hwang Hee-chan, who's been on the pitch for about maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and it's another bad tackle on Mbola, who has had a fair few dirty tackles on him today.
He's been in the water. It was a bouncing ball, a 50-50, and Bolo got there first. And this is the change. Samadžić is off, and here comes Christopher Nkunku. Probably could have been with the other 3, in my opinion, but better late than never.
Yeah, I think it's the right change. We said about Nkunku before. He's screaming out for him. He's a very good player on his day. We saw how many goals and assists he got last season, and maybe he can be the man to just direct and orchestrate this Leipzig midfield, because it has been pretty poor so far. But Gladbach here, potentially with an opportunity at the edge of the box. It's Mbola trying to weave his way out of a very tightly packed Leipzig defence. But there is going to be a yellow card given to Sabitzer, I think, here. I don't know what I think that's a foul, or has he been talking to the referee and said a few stern words to him?
Well, that's it, because it was a foul on Nkunku, so I thought it was Newhouse getting the yellow. But as you say, the camera's shown Sabitzer. Maybe it was from a previous challenge, or maybe it was from a bit of back chat. I'm not quite sure.
I'm guessing it's probably some back chat, but the cards are coming out now. As we do hit the 70th minute mark of this game, we have had, 4 Leipzig changes? No changes for Gladbach as of yet, apart from that one with Wender in the second half. Do you think we'll see a few more changes soon?
I'm not sure, as Haidara's on the left-hand side. I'm sorry, Josh, for not answering your question, but it's a great chance. Angelino's drilled the ball.
Well, that might have changed your opinion if that went into the back of the net there.
Yeah, definitely. He's drilled ball by Angelino, though. Really difficult to control that one. Hit it with a lot of venom, and Hwang Hee-chan's straight touch goes into the hands of Sommer. I think we do need to see a few, because what you'll see if your Gladbach is with the tired legs, you don't want to be getting caught out by players that have just come on who are going to be quicker because they haven't burnt all that energy. So it'd be interesting to see where they make the changes. Do they shut up shop? That's an interesting point. Like maybe bring on Kramer. I think he'll be a good addition to the midfield. Did they go for it and bring on Thuram as player wins the 50-50 against Benjamin Hendricks on the left?
He's done very good indeed, and here he is up against Hendricks on that left-hand side, flicks a ball into the box, and there's no one there to be able to get a touch on the ball, and eventually Galacki's just able to collect the ball. He's had a fairly easy night, to be honest. He's had 1 or 2 chances, but we are going to see a change in a moment. I think we were talking about a certain Marcus Thuram, and it looks like he's going to come onto the pitch with 20 minutes left of this match. Gladbach looking like they want to close the game off and get a 2-0 win.
Well, also alongside him was the man I just mentioned, Christoph Kramer, who is coming onto the field eventually. I think it's kind of a bit of both, really. Don't concede at one end, and if we can nick a goal, that's
Counter,
great. Yeah. But they'll be happy with the team that's on the pitch so far. But just changes to bring a bit more energy.
Lays Nkunku lays the ball off to Sabitzer. It's going to be Henriks bombing down that right hand side. Going to lay a ball into the box. There's a very heavy ball from the German, which is cleared away, but not convincingly. It's laid off to Sabitzer. Now it's a Upamecano about 40 yards out from goal. Here's Haidara. Good long range effort from Haidara. It's a good save from Sommer. It parries away, and there could be a chance here. Soloff on the ball. Good late to Angelino on the left wing, flings the ball into the box, and the player has gone down in the box, and well, that might be checked. I don't think there was much in it, to be honest with you, but there'll be a few Leipzig calls there, and the ball will go out of play, and Nkunku, he's calling to the referee here about maybe a potential penalty shout. Yeah,
they're going to look at it while they're making the substitution, but I tell you what, from Haidara's point of view, that's very soft if they give that, by the way. From Haidara's point of view, if you can't break down this Mönchengladbach, because it was 2 bags of 4 and 5 there, just take a hit from range, and he was really close. It was in the bottom right corner. It was a bouncing ball. Sommer did very well as Mbola was replaced by Marcus Thuram, and Christoph Kramer is coming on for Florian Neuhaus.
Yeah, I kind of look at the two performances there. I mean, Haidara's shot, which you're seeing right now, was a very good effort indeed, and of course it'd be nice to have had a lovely wonder goal in the game. Good save from Sommer, but bit of a quiet game from Mbola. Had a lot of feisty tackles on him. I don't like the fact he was playing as an attacking midfielder. I think he's a bit wasted there, to be honest with you. And now, of course, Thuram's come on, a bit of a better player. And as you said, Christoph Kramer comes on to do the dirty work. Sit back, defend, let the midfielders, if they need to counter-attack, they've got that one man there who can just sit back and get those dirty tackles in. And Gladbach, they are coming forward now, but good defending from Angelino means that could we get another Leipzig opportunity?
Yeah, definitely. Great footwork from Christopher Nkunku in the midfield there. I think he did one of those nice little flick-flacks, I think they called them, down with the kids.
He did indeed.
Between two men.
We're certainly down with the kids, aren't we?
Yeah, but he's causing all sorts of problems, Nkunku, since he's been on. And his ball into the box. Lovely. Finds Soloff, shot! Just over the bar, and it will be a corner. But again, Christopher Nkunku has been finding these pockets of space that the other players that were on the pitch before him haven't found all day long.
Well, I don't know if the touch there just kind of put him off a little bit. I mean, the defensive work was really good from Ginter, but the heavy touch from Soloff probably didn't help with the opportunity in terms of getting it towards goal. But either way, as you said, Kieran, they've got a corner here. If they can put this into the back of the net, we're in for a grandstand final 15. Ball is lofted into the box, trying to get it down, and eventually it's going to be cleared away. But back to Leipzig once again, and it's Sabitzer who feeds a pretty shoddy ball into the box, and less really to be said about that there from Sabitzer.
Yeah, definitely so. I think he was aiming for Hwang Hee-chan, but definitely under hit on his weaker left-hand side. But the ball is still with Leipzig. They'll be looking to recycle and get another ball back into the box if they can. I think Henriks has had a good night tonight, but hasn't really been able to do much. Has any of this Leipzig side, really?
No, they've been fairly quiet in the second half, but here they are once again with another chance. It's Hwang Hee-chan inside the box on the right wing. Really good work at the back there, and I think Hwang Hee-chan just finding it a little bit awkward to be able to get a touch on the ball. It's going to be a goal kick in the end, and Ginter, I think he was kind of stumbling a little bit, the centre back, but was able to stop Hwang Hee-chan getting an opportunity on goal. Yeah, just got his body in front of the South Korean there. He knows he's much stronger. Hwang Hee-chan's definitely quicker. But if he has to go through you to get the ball, you're either going to win a foul or it'll go out for a goal kick, which it has done in the end. But it just seems to be a wave after wave at the moment of Leipzig, which is not what I would have said 5 minutes ago. No, absolutely not. But I think Gladbach are fairly happy to sit back here and just defend. And are they going to get a goal? We'll have to find out here because they are coming forward. It's a really good chance that Forsberg could have very nearly put into the back of the net. It's going to be a corner, and there is a real sense of urgency now from this Leipzig side to get an equaliser. There definitely is. It's a lovely 1-2 on the edge of the box between Forsberg and Nkunku. Very similar to Ple's chance earlier, and Wolf's as well, where he tried to curl it into the top corner. But here we go, corner for Leipzig. Can they put this away, Kieran? I hope so. The ball is whipped in, but it's another defensive header, but the ball will be recycled back into the box by Christopher Nkunku. Hwang Hee-chan won't win it because he's 5'2". Desperate ball that's gone into the box there, and Forsberg is able to head down the ball from Sabitzer. who just kind of hits it first time into the box in desperation, and it's that urgency now. It is attack versus defence. It does feel like a bit of a training situation going on between these two sides, but Gladbach doing very well defensively. Leipzig, they've had a few little chances, but nothing too major in terms of the kind of 10-minute spell of attacking chances.
It's one of them where you wonder if something special will take it as a ball over the top, finds Hwang Hee-chan, he lays it off to Nkunku. Double touch and won't reach anyone, and Gladbach are going to try and run down the clock with a injury to Matthias Ginter. I think if you're Leipzig at the moment, it's going to take something special or a mistake. But Gladbach, they just have to defend resolute for another 15 minutes, and they will be very happy with this result, even though not the performance.
Yeah, I mean, he's very similar to the Real Madrid performance. Of course, this time they've got to hold on. They don't want to concede like they did at Real Madrid. Towards the latter end of the game where you feel like it's done and dusted. We've seen time and time again, as you said, the two previous Champions League performances where they've kind of maybe just calmed down a little bit and thought, right, we can not necessarily stop defending well, but we feel like we've won the game because we've got 2 goals, do you know what I mean? And teams like Real Madrid and Inter Milan, they've never been able to dispatch them and get 2 goals back and get points. Can Leipzig do it? I mean, right now it doesn't feel like it. There's a few little chances here and there, but Gladbach are bringing on Valentino Lazaro, who obviously could play a range of positions, play as a fullback and a winger. I think we might see Herman come off here, I think.
Yeah, I think they'll think Lazaro as a winger, because that might mean that he can also cover defensively. He'll track back a lot more because he has played that right wing-back position. If I'm not mistaken, Lars Stindl was getting ready as well.
He is indeed, so that'll be another player to bring on, which we've said before about him playing as a central attacking midfielder / centre forward, can sit, be a deep line playmaker as he's known for. Of course, he had that good season a few years ago where he was bang on form for Gladbach, probably one of the best players of the last couple of years, I think.
Yeah, and I think it might be the end of the day for either Hannes Wolf or Alassane Plia. I'm probably more leaning towards Wolf.
Yeah, I think it'd be Wolf that maybe comes off here as well as Herman, I think. But we'll find out in a second, because Gladbach will make their changes. Not yet. Play's going to continue on, but we'll find out with those 2 substitutions who comes off in just a moment's time. But time's running out now. 12 minutes left on the clock, and it's good to see that this game has livened up.
Yeah, definitely. I think this second half has been, again, I think, to be fair, the majority of the game has been played at a good tempo.
Yeah.
Just not with great quality, which is really bizarre for these two teams.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of Bundesliga games you look at and you think these could have goals in them, and this one has been quite the opposite. In that first half, it looked like no one was going to score, and you could play this game out. You could play it for longer than 90 minutes. You could play this game twice over, and I don't think you'd have expected any of the two teams to score with either way in the first 45. But, Gladbach, they've got that 1 goal. They're happy to sit back and defend. Although they are going to make their substitutions now. It's Stindl being the first player to come onto the pitch of these 2 substitutions. And off will be, in a moment, for Stindl, Alassane Plia, who, of course, has done fairly well today. Had a couple of decent opportunities, hit the post at one point as well. And then the other change is Valentino Lazaro. He's coming on to the pitch for Herman, the German, who got a very nice assist for the goal for Marius Wolf.
Definitely did. And we said, about these teams creating chances. There's been one bit of quality tonight, and it has ended in a goal, which is exactly what we expected. With such a terrible performance overall, I think it's fair enough.
It is indeed, and just look at the other game that's going on tonight. Liverpool currently 1-1 against West Ham. They just put the ball into the back of the net, disallowed by VAR, so an interesting game that one is right now. But currently, between Gladbach and Leipzig, we are about 8 seconds away from the final 10 minutes. Both teams have made a plethora of substitutions now. It really feels like Leipzig have got to go gung-ho if they want to win this game, or at least get a point.
Definitely do, but we'll see if Gladbach will be interested in nicking it on the break, as they have here as Wolf. Great strength.
That's great work
by Upamecano, and that's what makes him one of the most highly touted centre-backs in Europe, with strength like that, because that was a devastating counter if it would have gone in.
And look at the switch of play, the fact that a moment ago we were talking about Gladbach going forward, and, Forsberg's giving the ball away here, but I think he's very luckily got away with that one a little bit there, because Gladbach had a very good chance to go forward, I think.
He has definitely got away with it. There's a little trip there, fair enough, I think, but on the other side, Hannes Wolf thought he was through again, and it's just great strength from Upamecano to just kind of shoulder him off the ball and start a counter of his own, and that's why he's worth the big books.
Is indeed. I think we've had a booking as well. I think I don't know whether the manager for Gladbach's gone into the book with the other card. He has indeed, Marco Rose. Very frustrating indeed. And I like how on the Bundesliga graphics they've even got pictures of the managers, which is great.
Yeah, to give him a yellow. Imagine if they ever when they give him a red, the manager's been substituted. They could put a picture of his assistant and they just switch them over at the top.
Don't get that in the Premier League, I'll tell you that for sure.
No,
but
you don't.
Leipzig now, time is running out, and that's a really poor ball. You've got to say that. A little bit of nerves once again, because you've got to say, if they don't come out with a result, I think Leipzig, that's 2 defeats in a row. Of course, the 5-0 against Manchester United and the 1-0 against the Gladbach. There'll be a few, I think, Leipzig fans worrying slightly, because they haven't looked convincing today.
No, they were very fortunate against Hertha that they got a man sent off, and then they could kind of go from there. But this is a real test for them today, as was the United game, and unfortunately they may have come out of both, failing both, which will not be impressive, because at the start of the season people were thinking, Timo Werner they didn't need him. In games like this, I think it proves that they really did. But when you've got great players, they're going to go. As Sorloth picks it up at the edge of the box, I think he went for the strike. And it might just eke out for a corner, and it will.
It does indeed, and just very quickly before this corner's taken, I kind of feel like Leipzig are in a very similar position to where Spurs were after they won the Champions League.
Won the Champions League?
Lost the Champions League. I hope they didn't win the Champions League. No offence to Spurs fans. But in the fact that it kind of felt like...
Where'd you go?
Where'd you go? Yeah, because
almost in the back of the net.
Very nearly, very good chance indeed from Alexander Sorloth to put that into the top right hand corner. It looked like it was going, but a little bit too heavy. But I do kind of feel like Leipzig will never expect to win it. Do you know what I mean? But they expected to go far, and they did go, I think, a lot further than they expected to. And
yeah,
I guess where do you go from that point? Of course, they want to win the league and that, but they feel a little bit lacklustre, Leipzig. This hasn't been a convincing performance at all.
No, and especially after the midweek drubbing, and with Upamecano looking like he's going to go as well eventually. I think, sadly, Leipzig at the moment, I don't think this is going to be their best year, and I don't think this is going to be their best couple of years. But the thing is, they're going to invest this money, but the money they're investing, I don't think will come to fruition until a couple of years' time. It's kind of like, when they invested in Timo Werner, he kind of hit the ground running, but before they showed him, it was 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
I think it'll be the same now. Maybe a few years of a bit quieter from RB Leipzig until they burst onto the scene in a couple of years' time for 1 or 2 more years.
Yeah, I just think it's going to be a tricky season for them. I mean, I haven't watched all the games, so this could just be a genuine blip in the system. As I said, you've come off of the back of a 5-0 defeat to Man U. You're going to be a little bit more cautious than usual because you don't want a similar situation to happen again in the the league fixtures. And of course, Gladbach haven't really going to be able to do that today anyway, which is quite lucky for Leipzig. But there'll be a lot of pressure on Nagelsmann, I think, not in terms of losing his job or anything, just the fact that how does a team like this bounce back? Because let's be honest, they are used to winning quite a bit, and there's a ball lofted towards Marcus Thuram, and that is a bit of a silky work there from Galatsky coming out as a sweeper keeper to just head the ball away from his goal.
Yeah, did very well there. The lofted ball by Christoph Kremer, the 2 substitutes trying to connect over the top, but nothing came of it in the end.
No, nothing did indeed, and we are getting towards the final 6 minutes of this game, and it looks like, I think, Liverpool have actually got their goal finally. It's 2-1 to Liverpool later on in their game against West Ham. And it's going to be Shaqiri getting an assist for that one as well, which is quite interesting. Don't get to see him much, but are we going to see any late goals in this one, do you think? Because we've seen Leipzig bombing forward, but nothing coming as of yet.
No, it just seems to be a really solid defensive performance from Gladbach, which we do know they like to concede late.
Yes.
We've seen that in the 2 Champions League fixtures. So I wouldn't count Leipzig out just yet, but I've got to admit, defensively, I think Gladbach have been very, very good so far today. And other side of that, Mönchengladbach, Leipzig have been very, very poor going forward. So interesting look at the table. Gladbach will be up into 4th, in with a shout again, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. It looks very interesting with the table as it stands. If Gladbach win this match, they're only 4 points behind Bayern, which kind of sounds like a lot considering how well Bayern Munich played, but the other teams around them, it does feel like it could be another race in terms of the top 4 positions again between the likes of Leipzig and Leverkusen. Of course, they're, I think, unbeaten still currently in the league, although they've had a fair few draws. They'll still be up there this season in terms of the top 6 at the very least, and it'd be a big result for Gladbach because, of course, had Leipzig won today, they would have gone back to the top of the table, and they had to go out there, I think, today and win this match. And so far, they've not impressed at all in this game, I have to admit.
No, they haven't. They haven't looked like top of the league at all. They've no team has outclassed the other, but one bit of quality from Mönchengladbach, and they were very, very clinical when that came. But Leipzig, very poor.
Yeah, it's a very frustrating performance because I think if you're Nagelsmann, you'll looked and said we were the better of the two sides. For the majority of the game, we had so many attacking opportunities as they get a free kick here, and tension's beginning to rise. I think late on, Hwang Hee-chan's going to have to watch out here because he's already in the book, and the referee's telling the player to back off, of course, who's getting into a bit of a pickle right now, and well, frustration's building, basically, in these last couple of minutes of the game between him and Benzebaini.
Yeah, he used his body well, let the ball pass him, and Benzebaini was all over his back. He did, Rowan. I think we said it, didn't we?
He did indeed.
Anyway, he let the ball roll, and then he kind of clambered over his back, which was... Hwang Hee-chan was not happy, it's fair to say.
No, he wasn't indeed. Well, the free kick was lofted into the box, and nothing really comes of it. And we've got 3 minutes left of this game. Gladbach 1, Leipzig 0. They're coming forward once again the away side. They have to get a goalie if they want to salvage a point out of this game.
They just can't create anything, can they, at the moment? We see Upamecano moving himself to a makeshift left winger at the moment. Just because they need to hoop balls long and they've got Sorloth up there, and now they can add Upamecano to the mix. I think they can win a few headers, which as they do, and Sorloth does win that header across the box to Hwang Hee-chan, who heads it over.
Yeah, that's kind of a situation where you want somebody like Sorloth to be there. He's a little bit taller, who can maybe steer it home a little bit better than Hwang Hee-chan did there, and yeah, it hasn't been an effective performance from Hwang Hee-chan since he's come on, and I think you could say that about any substitution that's come onto the pitch for Leipzig.
I think Nkunku has been probably the only player that's been at all influential.
Decent at best.
Yeah, since coming on, it was the moment he came on. That first 5 or so minutes which he was in the game, he was really good. Finding space and creating set piece opportunities. But since then, he's as I say, most of this Leipzig team is just quieting down since then.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've got a minute and a half left now. I don't think there's going to be a great deal of additional time, to be honest, because we've had the few substitutions. We might get maybe 2 minutes tops of this game. It hasn't really had many stoppages in play apart from those substitutions. And as you said earlier, we've seen Gladbach concede late. This is around the time where usually they kind of crumble and concede and drop points. Of course, we've seen it in the Champions League before. We've seen them concede 2 against Mainz. Can they hold on this time as they do come forward, maybe to make it 2-0?
They switch the ball in the midfield and Liner picks it up on the right. He had that great cut ball and he aims for the box. But not sure he needed to at that point. I'd probably...
Well, that was...
We both gave it the same.
That was one of those moments where he thought, is the referee going to play on? And he just for half a second, Lazaro played on while the referee got the whistle towards his mouth, and he thought, maybe here we might have a chance, and nothing comes of it, but a little bit of excitement there, which has been rare in this game.
Oh, there definitely has been. I think there was that 20-minute period, in that middle of the game, but it's one of them. I was going to say this before that chance flourished. This hasn't been a great game to watch along. However, if you're a Gladbach fan, this has been a great professional performance that you'll be very, very happy with, because the last 2 games you've been in comfortable positions and they've kind of got away from you. 4 minutes?
Well, we got 4 minutes of additional time, I think. I know even Nagelsmann's probably thinking, we got 4 minutes and they're 1-0 down, but I think the best way to describe it is a very Atletico Madrid-esque performance, I think. Very astute in the fact that they've got their goal, kind of sat back, and they've not really kind of worried about getting a second goal. No. Although they are coming forward here. Yeah,
they're going to the corner. For me, it's been very professional, very industrial, nothing special. It won't be one of them at the end of the year where you'll look back and go, that really made our season. But every point counts.
And I think it could be again. where you look back and say it has made our season in
Oh,
terms of the team you're facing here. It could be one of those games you look back and think, well,
You won't
that
remember
could
it,
be
though.
the free. No, you won't remember the game, but that could be the game where you look at it and say that was the 3 points.
Yeah.
That could have got us something because
Yeah, I see what you mean.
you know Leipzig, they're a good side on the day. Unfortunately, today they've been really poor. But you've got to go out there against these teams around you in that top end of the table and get results, even if it's a shoddy game of football.
Yeah, it's not one of them that will stick in the memories, but I get what
No.
you mean. You know, come the end of the season, you've got to beat the teams in and around you, and they have done.
They have indeed, and we've got 3 more minutes left of this game. And Kyle's put, do you like the Bundesliga theme music?
Yeah, I've got to admit I do.
It's quite nice, isn't it?
Yeah, big fan of the Bundesliga music. It's better than the new Premier League one.
Premier League one's awful. Hate it. That's the advert before it, isn't it? That's the car heist.
Yeah, that's the Renault. That's the Renault advert.
That's the one with Thierry Henry back in the day.
He's not in it anymore, sadly.
I will never let you go.
Oh,
I can't sing it too close.
No.
I'm going to get copyright strike here. It's too similar to the original.
It
As
is.
Leipzig come forward here, can they nick a late equaliser? Kieran, can they do it?
I hope so, as Hwang Chan distributes the ball into the box. No, they
Not with a
can't.
ball like that.
That is horrific. Rose is kind of sat back very calm, very collected for a manager that's, 2 minutes away from a big victory in the season, for even though it's early.
Yeah, he looks very resolute. I think he probably knows in the back of his head that Leipzig have been very disappointing today. And you can look at Julian Nagelsmann right now. You can quite clearly see on his face there's not a great deal of emotion, but you can tell he's very annoyed. And it's been a pretty poor performance. And Leipzig, they've got to bounce back because 2 losses this season. The 5-0 against Man U will have already been damaging enough to some of these players, and now you've gone back into the league to lose 1-0 in a game where it was detrimental that you won this to keep pace with Bayern Munich and Dortmund. You go out there, you lose it. This could affect their season.
Yeah, it is, and it's one of them. It's early in the season, but you don't want to make losing a trend.
No,
and that's slowly and it's not even that they've lost, but Man United was a bad performance, but this has just been bad in terms of they've not been dominated, it's just been bad.
Yeah, it's been poor. It's the defensive half of play has not actually been that bad, to be honest. It was that moment of magic from Wolf to be able to just put the ball into the back of the net, but the attacking half of play has been really poor, and as you said earlier, Nkunku's probably one of the only guys that's come onto the pitch and made something happen. Forsberg as well had that opportunity that was deflected and went out for a corner. But in terms of the other substitutions that's come on, Hwang Chan unfortunately hasn't really done anything apart from run around the pitch and get booked and try and
be
push
very
Benzema.
angry.
Just be very angry, which is exactly what Nagelsmann doesn't want. But we've got 25 seconds left here, and Gladbach look like they're about to take a victory, and you can tell in a situation like this, usually you'd have numbers forward. Right now, currently, there's 2 players, one playing towards the box for Gladbach. Yeah,
definitely. They want to head towards that corner flag, but the ball has been nicked, and it's one long ball now from Peter Galaxy. This is the last chance saloon. It doesn't make it past midfield, but the header is won, and the header's won again by Sorloth, but it's out.
It's a good clearance, and the referee surely blows his whistle now.
Lazaro, through balls Wolf, it's got to be over now.
Galatsky will hit this long, he'll hit it short, and the ref, he blows his whistle, and it is a very deserved result for Gladbach in the context of this game between both sides.
Definitely. One, as we've said, important but not memorable for Mönchengladbach and Leipzig. They won't be very happy, they've lost their grip on the top spot, but for Gladbach, they have cut the gap between them and the pack, and that's all that mattered.
It's a decisive result for Gladbach, means that they're going to the top 4. Leipzig, as you said a moment ago, drop off the top spot. Bayern Munich take that spot, and as I said, not the most enthralling game to watch in the world, but Gladbach with a good, convincing 1-0 victory against a pretty poor RB Leipzig side on their day, and of course it means we have a good result for Gladbach, and Leipzig, they've got a lot of work to do because they've got to play PSG next.
Yeah, exactly, and PSG up in action tonight against Nantes, so we'll see which form both these teams will come into, because for Leipzig, very disappointing for the last week, definitely, and if PSG do a number on them, that'll be a really bad week span for this Leipzig team. It's a test of character for them now, and still a few teams to play in the league, so it'll be see how the land will fall for these big teams. But with Dortmund and with Bayern winning, missed opportunity for Leipzig.
Exactly, and we know with the likes of Bayern Munich and Dortmund, specifically Bayern, that if you drop points, once or twice in the season, that could be it. Your season in terms of trying to keep up with Bayern Munich could be done and dusted just like that. But good result tonight for Gladbach. Not the greatest game in the world, but of course, at least they've got the 3 points on the board. It was a pretty, as I said, not really a spooky performance, was it? It was a bit it was spooky in terms of how bad Leipzig were.
Yeah, it was. I don't feel we got treated very well.
No, but that's their own fault. I think we've had played today, I'm not going to lie. But of course, we've got more content still coming to the channel. You can see on the top right hand corner. Next time we're going to be live with Watchalong is UCL match day number 3 with our goals show. That's on the 3rd of November, 7:45. And then on the 4th of November, we'll have the other set of group fixtures in the Champions League. And then on the 5th of November, Europa League action, Benfica versus Rangers, 5:55 kickoff. Should be a good game of football, that one, in the Europa League.
I'm looking forward to that. I've watched Rangers' 2 fixtures so far. I've been tracking them because they're kind of my Scottish team. I've tracked them all the way, and they did very well against Standard Liège, very well against Lech Poznan. But this is the big one, the double header against Benfica. They're on 6 out of 6. Can they make it 9 out of 9?
We'll have to find out. But as for now, thank you very much, Kieran, for putting up with what was an enthralling match between these two sides. I have to admit.
Thank you, Josh. I hope you don't double think the Bundesliga weekender after that example.
No, I definitely won't be after that game. But no, thank you very much as always. If you're on these streams, always do leave a like and subscription. It's very greatly appreciated as we push towards 1,300 subscribers. But as for now, I hope you've enjoyed the interesting game of football that was on. Have a fantastic morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are on this Halloween day. Of course, I was going to say Halloween evening, but it could be Halloween morning depending on where you are in the world.
Yeah.
But as for now, thanks very much for watching, and we will see you soon. See you later.